us. So thank you. You know the drill. There's a gifting goal today. Please consider contributing. Also join our team if you haven't done that already. Join our Discord. The link to the Discord is in the link tree that's in my bio. Also, we are crowdfunded here. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do so at Factsstillmatter. If you put a note in your contribution at Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, I would be honored to read it. So thank you very much in advance for that. All kinds of stuff happening. I do want to remind folks that coming by a friend of the show, a member of Indivisible, who is part of the creation of a chapter in the state of Michigan that's really gaining traction. And as we discuss here often, it's about doing something, right? Well, Jess will tell you the something that she and other people in her community have done in hopes of inspiring others. Links to those organizations are both also in the link tree that's in my bio. You'll find Indivisible. You'll find information about the program in Michigan and also the Act Blue resource for fundraising for that campaign. So that'll be around 9 o'clock this morning. We have a lot to cover. All kinds of shit. Well, I guess we always talk about it in terms of breaking news. Well, if it's not breaking, I don't know what it is, because everything pops off here and there and everywhere. So I think where I kind of want to start is we spent a lot of time, and I want to again thank Emmy, and I want to thank Thickles for joining us yesterday as we did that breakdown on this community, this far right community. Actually, let me just bring up the summary so we can just kind of remind folks, and we're going to get into it a little bit more, just because I think it's necessary that we try to navigate through the misinformation and disinformation, because there's more coming from our administration. We always talk about things in terms of what we know here. And what we know is some obvious connections to the person involved in the unaliving of Charlie Kirk. We also know that the administration has been lying every step of the way, and they continue to lie. We also know about, again, rumors and or suggestions, but yet some connections to what's referred to as the Groper community. So just as a reminder, what are Groypers? How are they different from MAGA? So that's the really interesting piece. Groypers are a far-right group that promotes white nationalist and Christian nationalist ideas. The movement is led by Nick Fuentes-ish, a Latino political activist known for his extremist views. The movement emerged around 2018 in online spaces like 4chan, where young men rallied around Fuentes and his America First podcast. There, he pushed extremist views on immigration, race, and religion. Most Groypers are young men who spend much of their time online. They use memes, trolling, and confrontational questions at political events to spread their message. Their mascot is the Groper frog, a variation of Pepe the Frog. So if you see that imagery, then I'm not going to say that everybody who displays that imagery is connected to Groypers, but it has some significance, we'll put it that way. Groypers push white nationalist ideas and often use racist rhetoric. They reject queer rights, promote Christian nationalism, and tie politics to religion. They also demand near total opposition to immigration. Groypers place themselves to the right of both MAGA and the GOP, arguing that mainstream conservatives have watered down their message. In other words, Groypers think MAGA is not extreme enough. They accuse leaders of compromising on immigration and embracing social inclusion, which they see as weakness. MAGA supporters see Groypers as too extreme and aggressive for mainstream politics. Some politicians, including MTG and former Speaker Kevin McCarthy, have denounced Nick Fuentes and the group's extreme political ideas. As a reminder, Nick Fuentes once dined with the president at Mar-a-Lago. Groypers highlight a split in the far right between young activists and mainstream conservatives. Their extreme views often clash with traditional political strategy. This division shows the tension shaping the future of American conservatism. So it's like the right is fracturing. I mean, in all these groups, once again, it doesn't matter what we say to the MAGA community and to the far right extremists and to the conservative right in general. The overwhelming incidences of political violence. In a way, all violence is political, but we'll keep it in terms for this conversation, political violence. The overwhelming majority of it comes from the right, and there's no denying it. And like I said, the Groper community, and I'm learning more and more about it when you go down these subreddits and the black pilling and the gamer community and it's Bella Ciao and all kinds of things. There's all kinds of connections, and we could spend a week talking about it, and we'll try to keep it as high level as we can. Okay, cows. We'll try to keep it as high levels as we can, just because there's just so much there. But as we discussed yesterday, this is really the time for parenting to shine. Especially the young men in your life, your children, your boys, whether it be through Roblox or other ROBLOX, whether it be through Roblox or other game. There's all kinds of connections to targeting messaging through those particular apps, games, and programs. And there's a lot of connections, and there's a lot of conjecture, opinion, but also some breadcrumbs that connect Tyler Robinson to the Groper community, to the far right extremism. So we have to talk about it, and we will. I think it's not going away, just because there's all kinds of little things that are now connected to it. And the right, especially the leadership, lack of a better term, leadership at the FBI is doing everything they can to try to create narratives to take the light off of them and their extremism. So Kash Patel, who's not doing well, not doing well at all, is now trying to spin this narrative of a manifesto. And if you just listen to him talk about it, you can hear the desperation in his voice.
The suspect wrote a note saying, "I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it." That note was written before the shooting. Evidence of its existence, we now have learned, existed before the shooting, was in the location in the suspect and partner's home. But we have since learned that the note, even though it has been destroyed, we have found forensic evidence of the note, and we have confirmed what that note says because of our aggressive interview posture at the FBI. The suspect wrote a note saying, "I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it." That note was written before the shooting. Evidence of its existence, we now have learned, exists.
Okay, evidence of its existence, we now have learned. Okay.
Before the shooting was in the location in the suspect and partner's home. But we have since learned that the note, even though it has been destroyed.
The note, even though it has been destroyed.
We have found forensic evidence of.
We have found forensic evidence of it.
The note, and we have confirmed what that note says.
And we have confirmed. Thank you, Swish Raiders. Hearts in the chat for the Swish Raiders, please. Hold on, we got a restriction. Everybody tap like crazy, please. What, Cash?
It's because of our aggressive interview posture at the FBI.
So they have evidence of a manifesto that doesn't exist, but yet they have forensic experts that now know what's in it. Thank you, Swish Raiders. Love you guys. What? I'm sorry, one more time.
Suspect wrote a note saying, "I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it." That note was written before the shooting. Evidence of its existence, we now have learned, existed before the shooting, was in the location in the suspect and partner's home. But we have since learned that the note, even though it has been destroyed.
Even though the note has been destroyed.
We have found forensic evidence of the note.
They have found forensic evidence of the note.
And we have confirmed what that note says.
And we have confirmed what that note says.
Because of our aggressive interview.
What? What? You see, here's the thing. MAGA, because I know there's a lot of you in the chat. Good morning. Kiss, kiss. They think you're stupid. They think you're stupid. Because they will run around in their little safe spaces today. And they will say, you see, Cash said they found a note that don't exist. They don't have evidence of it other than the evidence of it. And it was destroyed, but they know what it says. Fucking Democratic radical fucks. What? What? Do you see how desperate they are? Do you literally see how desperate they are? It is absolute. They know MAGA is stupid. Yeah, exactly. Hold on. Hold on.
Smart people don't like me.
There you go. Thank you, Gregory. Yeah.
Smart people don't like me.
Exactly. So they're so desperate, and there is so much incompetence connected to this administration that's what they're going to say. They're literally going to say, we don't have anything. We're going to tell you we have something. We're going to tell you our crack team at the FBI under my leadership has got all this aggressive. Don't forget, they lied about, they didn't do shit to get the confession. They didn't do a damn thing. They didn't do a damn thing. Here you go again.
Smart people don't like me.
You're right. Smart people don't like you, which would imply, that stupid people do. So what was it written on? What does it say? You know full well what's coming, friends. You know full well what's coming. They will make something up. They will attempt to imply that their forensics, it'll be, I'm going to make a prediction right now. They will piecemeal things together. They would say that they can't put everything together, but their crack investigative teams will put up little tidbits, and they'll throw in little tropes in there, and they will come up with this entire story because they are incompetent and they're unwilling to look in the mirror. It's just, that's how bad it is. That's how bad it is. And what I find really, really, really interesting is that they have all this top-rate forensics, all these amazing tools at their disposal, but yet the e-files didn't exist. Right? It's weird, right? It's weird when you are attempting to create a narrative that doesn't track, where you can't connect the dots because all you do is lie. All you do is lie. So that's their spin now. That's what they're banking on. I think I have a little bit more on that because it just got worse. Just got worse for cash. Do I have another clip of that? Maybe I don't. I think that's enough. Hold on. Maybe I do. Yeah, here you go. Here's a little bit more from Cash, who's really on the ball these days.
And one more point on forensics. We were able to obtain in record time the text message chain between the suspect and his live-in partner, as well as
again, no evidence, absolutely no evidence that they were partners. None. There is absolutely no evidence of that at all, other than the FBI attempting to make that statement. Otherwise, hold on a second. Did I just get notification? Oh, look at that. Everybody, Eve is in the chat. Everybody send hearts to Eve. A triumphant return. And she is, I'm honored that she's here and joining us today. So hearts in the chat for Eve. She might have gotten a break from the amazing work that she's doing out there. So there you go. We love you, friend. We love you from the bottom of everything that we have. We appreciate you. There is no connection. There is no connection at all to a relationship. And even if there was, what does it imply? So here's Cash again.
Other critical cellular information from our CAS team that analyzes cell phone data towers in the area to pinpoint the locations of the suspect and other individuals he was speaking with. This is critical information that the FBI processed and got to prosecutors so they can lawfully use it in a court of law. And our investigation, our interviews continue, but we've learned some shocking things when we spoke to his family and friends as well.
You want to share them? Those shocking things?
Sure. And my job as FBI director is not to speak to motive, is to speak to the facts. And that's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
His family has collectively told investigators that he subscribed to left-wing ideology, and even more so in these last couple of years.
That is a flat-out, bold-faced fucking lie. An absolute lie. I mean, it's one thing for MAGA mouthpieces to kind of stretch the truth a little bit. You know, there's might be a nugget of something in there. You know, a little tidbit of something that might be close to true. This is a bold-faced fucking lie. And again, he's speaking to this base.
Smart people don't like me.
That's who he's speaking to, because they will believe it. They will believe it. People think that Kash Patel is the best FBI director in history. And I'm going to share something with you guys that came out in a lawsuit recently about the loyalty test that members of the FBI were asked to take, and how we can use that right in MAGA's face because of their claim about the weaponization of government. Well, guess what? We're going to blow the lid off that bullshit. So you have to stay tuned for that. But again, more from Kash.
Years. And he had a text message exchange, he the suspect, with another individual, in which he claimed that he had an opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and he was going to do it because of his hatred for what Charlie stood for. Those are factually accurate.
Okay, now there may be some evidence of that being true, but there's no connection to it being left-leaning. We've discussed it in terms of the Groper community now, haven't we? It's interesting, right? When you go that deep down the rabbit hole, and when your entire narrative is built around a lie, you are desperate to try to find an answer to something, and they can't answer their own questions because it's been one misstep after another. And don't forget, Governor Cox came out yesterday and said, well, yeah, he had his clothes on the roof, then he changed his clothes, and he took off his clothes, and then put the first clothes back on. Don't forget, the governor also said, I prayed for 33 hours that it would be somebody outside of the state, outside of the country. But then I found out it's one of my own. So this is what they're doing. But then the web gets a little bit deeper, because there's something, and as we know, the deeper the better, right? As we know, hey, did I just say that out loud? I did. Candace Owens has a pretty interesting connections to Turning Point, okay? Turning Point USA. She and Charlie were friends. She used to be a prominent voice within Turning Point. I don't know what happened now to that, but she's been one of the people who's been the most critical of the FBI and the Justice Department's handling of the Epstein files, right? She's been very, very critical of that. So she had this interesting post, and I want to thank Jolly Good Ginger for calling this out, and we had it in our mod chat this morning. This is 2 days ago. First, there was a post by that she retweeted. It says, Charlie was about to lose his last major donor because he refused to ban Tucker from events. There are a lot of people shedding crocodile tears. The billionaires must be exposed for the cretins that they are. Candace posted this 2 days ago. Charlie was fighting with some very powerful billionaires that he took money from over things that he was discussing. The pressure on him was immense over the last 2 weeks. The truth will be revealed, the messages will be leaked, and the movement he built will rise up. Also, Bibi Netanyahu also spoke about how he called Charlie 2 weeks ago to, quote, invite him to Israel. That phone call is lacking context. Bibi should provide the proper context of what and who inspired him to make that call and exactly how Charlie replied. The web gets wider and deeper, and listen, we are now all on the front lines of trying to navigate disinformation and propaganda. And friends, I can tell you that it is exhausting because we're trying to do our best. I mean, we take what we do here every single day very seriously and try to provide you guys to be as objective as possible, just report on what we know. But it's getting harder and harder to navigate because I'm not even sure which direction to turn. Like, we've got this over here, and then how far down the rabbit hole goes. And I will say this again, because of the amazing fucking mod team that I have, it at least keeps me sane. So hearts in the chat for my mod team and any live creator who does what we do. They could not do it without their mods. And especially now, just because of the way in which we do our show, there are so many little rabbit holes that we can go down. And I ask questions and we bang around ideas off each other, and I get a shin kick now and then, which is totally fine. I likely deserve it. But this is why it's so important to become media literate. This is why it's so important to become, to really critically think and navigate your way through things, because chances are, if there's smoke, there's usually fire. And then every single time that we come up with something, or, we're up against something, right? We've got Kash Patel doing his bullshit. We've got all these notion kicks today. Thank you, Jess. Appreciate you. We've got all the lies that they're trying to tell, and we're still hearing the rhetoric from the right, that they believe that it's the left that is causing this political violence. It's just not true. It is just absolutely not true. Not even close. Oh, Robert Redford has passed away. I just saw that come down the pipe. Robert Redford has passed away. So I'm sure we'll get some more information on that. Anyway, it's a very interesting thing for her to say, Candace Owens, right? It's very interesting for her to say that. What does she know? Thank you, Jess. What does she know? What does she know? What should she know? What will she know? How much does she know? Is she just trying to get clout, and is she just trying to get attention? Right? So if I was a betting man, and I'm not, thank you. That's pretty cool. Thank you, guys. And don't forget about our we are crowdfunded here, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. Thank you, guys. And, actually, I should talk about this real quick. I'm going to talk about the TikTok situation in just a second, but the subscription model on TikTok has changed significantly. It looks like the baseline sub is like $10 a month, and that just seems crazy. And they're getting more of their cut. So the best way to support the channel, quite frankly, if you like what we do here, is through our crowdfunding. And we post our goal daily, and I'll be happy to read your notes. I just wanted to get that out there. Thank you, guys, because I don't like talking about that shit, but it's necessary. Okay, so. Let's pivot to, how do I want to do this? Okay, let's talk about the TikTok situation first, because I think it's necessary since it involves a lot of our lives. There is a framework deal in place. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said that a framework for a TikTok deal before the deadline that could have banned the popular social media app in the United States. I think there's been 4 extensions so far. Bessent offered a few details about the agreement on a key sticking point about who would control TikTok's algorithm, which dictates what users see on the app. We're not going to talk about the commercial terms of the deal just yet. It's between 2 private parties, but the commercial terms have been agreed upon. He did not indicate which parties he was referring to. We are very focused on TikTok and making sure that it was a deal that is fair for the Chinese and completely respects U.S. national security concerns. First of all, the national security concerns bullshit is just that bullshit, because there wouldn't be an account for the president or the White House if they were so concerned about national security. So let's be real. They're just trying to find, they just want to bring Oracle in because that's where the money comes from. So let's just be honest about that. Okay, Bessent spoke from Madrid. He was meeting with Chinese delegation to discuss the ongoing trade tensions between the 2 superpowers. Just prior to his remarks, China announced it had found computer chip giant NVIDIA in violation of its antitrust laws over a 2020 deal. There's like Oracle money behind it, and what they're trying to figure out is how they can satisfy the terms of the congressional action about banning TikTok, how they keep the algorithm. So we don't really know yet. The deadline for it to go away is technically tomorrow. Obviously, they're going to extend that. So I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But that's sort of the update there. Okay. So additionally, when we're talking about people who have hate in their heart, this is Democratic politician. I can't find his name here. This is an interview on Newsmax, and this is. I like the way that this gentleman approached this, because if we want to talk about lowering the temperature in our country, we have to talk about that, right? The fundamental difference is that Republican leadership and large voices are the ones that are promoting and advocating for violence against Democrats. Let's be real about that. You've got actors and comedians and shit doing that, but there's been no action, no bully pulpit like the right has. So this is how I think this is a great way to address this, and I'll be right back.
The Democratic Party does not have a corner on the market of saying stupid things. Republicans have done that as well. I'm sorry, what?
Yes, they do. There's no more
I'm sorry,
on both sides. It's extreme. Yeah. It's dangerous. Yeah. It's hostile.
I'm sorry, is this going to be an interview where I get a chance
Congressman
to,
Smith, go ahead.
You guys just want to shout in?
Congressman Smith.
Just let me know. I'll go either way. Now, come on. I mean, you can think of all the things. And look, I think that people on both sides get online and say dumb things and do speculation and are too critical of their colleagues, all right? Mm-hmm. So just to give you one example, there was a congressman from Arizona who did a video game where his avatar was actually killing the avatar of Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez. And of course, on January 6th, we had a little noose hanging up there from Mike Pence, and people were wandering around talking about killing Nancy Pelosi and Mike Pence. So you seriously want to argue that this is just something that only the left wing does. MAGA people called in death threats to Republican members of Congress who voted to certify the election in 2020. So look, I'm with you. Stupid people say stupid things, and we should not do that. We should have a discussion about what's going on in Ukraine or what's going on in Gaza or the fact that Xi, Putin, Modi, and Kim Jong-un are getting together. That's all important. You want to surf the internet for someone on the left that said something stupid, you will be having plenty to do. You want to surf the internet for something stupid that someone on the right said, you can fill up your time doing that too. I think it's more productive to have rational conversations when we have the chance.
But Representative, you have to admit, it seems like a lot of Democrats, a lot of people out there on the left, they're rooting for the president, our president, to fail. Whether you like it or not, President Trump is our president. We should be rooting for
Remember, this is Newsmax.
him to succeed.
Fair enough, but that's so funny because when President Biden was when President Obama was president, I mean, no less of a person than Mitch McConnell. That my job is for Obama to fail. So I'm with you. I don't go out there and say those things. I don't go out and say I'm rooting for Donald Trump.
I know you don't, but you need to speak out against it.
Democrats who are only doing that for Republicans when Republicans actively rooted for Obama and Biden to fail. I don't think that was a good idea.
You know, politics are tough. It goes back and forth, guys. I think the rhetoric, I think everybody can agree that the rhetoric sometimes maybe on both sides. They're bad apples on both sides. It gets a little extreme. In the latest case.
So at the end, just a tiny little acknowledgement from Newsmax that says, oh yeah, there's bad people on both sides. But for the right to say that you need to hold your elected your officials accountable, that's exactly what the left does. That's exactly what the left does. And the right doesn't. Because if they truly cared about lowering the temperature, they would start with addressing the President of the United States, who just the other day, went on one of his many safe spaces. Where's the sound? And said this, right?
How do we fix this country? How do we come back together?
I'll tell you something that's going to get me in trouble, but I couldn't care less.
Oh, yeah.
The radicals on the right.
Yeah, but again, so why would the Fox host not take that opportunity to say, Mr. President, you are the president of the United States. You're not just the president for Paducah, Kentucky, due respect, Blue Dots. You're the president for everybody. Liberal Haight-Ashbury, deep, dark woods of West Virginia, the land that doesn't exist, Appalachia, wherever. If your job, the primary role of the president, right? Instead, I could care less.
Oftentimes they're radical because they don't want to see crime.
Okay.
They don't want to see crime.
Okay. Worried about the border.
Right. They're saying, we don't want these people coming in. We don't want you burning our shopping centers. Right. We don't want you shooting our people in the middle of the street. The radicals on the left are the problem. They're vicious and they're horrible and they're politically savvy.
How do we?
So again, to take that previous Republican mouthpiece's, words to heart when he's on Newsmax saying, you got to call it out. Okay, so why are you not calling that out? Pretty simple, right? Pretty simple. And the problem is that, like we said yesterday, the reason that MAGA doesn't think what Charlie Kirk said is racist is because they're racist. People who don't think what Charlie Kirk said is sexist is because they're sexist. You can't look at merit. You can't sit back and say when Charlie Kirk says black women do not have the processing power to be taken seriously, you have to go steal a white person's slot. If you don't think that's racist, it's because you're racist. I can't stand the word empathy. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term and does a lot of damage. We made a huge mistake when we passed the Civil Rights Act in the 1960s. MLK was awful. He's not a good person. If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. We need armed militias to prevent the diminishing and decreasing of white demographics. If you don't think those things are racist, it's because you're racist. If you don't think the things that he says about the queer community isn't transphobic or homophobic, it's because you're transphobic or homophobic. See, Clay, you're proving the point. So you're going to focus on that one? I think empathy is a made-up New Age term and it does a lot of damage. You think empathy is a made-up term? What is there to finish? Clay? First of all, anybody that has two names as their user profile, like Clay or Dum or Idiot, I wouldn't think that's going to get, that's not much of a flex, my guy. Anyway, black women in America are the most educated demographic, period. Mic drop, full stop. We need armed militias to prevent the diminishing and decreasing of white demographics? What? That tracks, though, because then you get elected official. This is Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt. And this is what he has to say about that. See, when we talk about extremism on the right, we can connect so many dots. We get people who do not, there are people literally saying right now that Charlie's not racist. That's the white fragility prayer they talk about, the proximity to racism. Yeah, racism exists, but it's over there. Right? So, listen, we're never going to convince MAGA, even though, remember, the Groper's MAGA thinks you guys are soft. The Groper movement to your right thinks you're soft. Thinks you guys are weak. Thinks you guys are cowards. That you're fake. That you're not extreme enough. They think you're too soft on immigration, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? They think you're too soft. What did I get? Yeah. Thank you, Fleece. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. Charlie Kirk. Yeah. Right? So, again, if that's the case, then I guess sacrifices are necessary. I guess you did your part, Charlie. I guess you did your part. So this is, again, Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt on, but tell me this guy's not racist, okay? Good luck explaining this one.
The Continental Army soldiers dying of frostbite at Valley Forge. The Pilgrims struggling to survive in the hard winter soil of Plymouth. The pioneers striking out from...
Okay, the Continental Army, the Pilgrims, the pioneers are all palm-colored.
Missouri for the wild and dangerous frontier. The outnumbered Kentucky settlers repelling wave after wave of Indian war band attacks from beyond the stockade walls. All of them will be astonished to hear that they were only fighting for a proposition.
Ooh.
They believed they were fighting for a nation, a homeland for themselves and their descendants. They fought, they bled, they struggled, they died for us. They built this country for us. America, in all its glory, is their gift to us, handed down across the generations. It belongs to us. It's our birthright. It's our heritage, our destiny. If America is everything and everyone, then it is nothing and no one at all. When they tear down our statues and monuments, mock our history, and insult our traditions, they're attacking our future as well as our past. By changing the stories we tell about ourselves, they believe they can build a new America with the new myths, new people. But America doesn't belong to them. It belongs to us. It's our home. It's a heritage entrusted to us by our ancestors. It's a way of life that is ours and only ours. If we disappear, then America too will cease to exist.
Interesting. That was 5 days ago. Interesting, but I'm sure that that's not racist either, right? I'm sure that that's not racist either. America built on the back of slavery. America built on the back of the genocide of indigenous communities and populations, right? But it's ours because we took it, right? Because we stole it. But that's fine, right? Because America belongs to us. America belongs to white people. No, it the fuck doesn't. No, it the fuck doesn't. Again, that's a Republican senator from Missouri. His name is Eric Schmidt. Exactly. Who is us and them? That's exactly right. Yeah, that's right. We stole it. We stole it fair and square. Right, Chris? Yeah, we stole it fair and square. But you notice again, he started with the Continental Army made up of white people, and thus those that were forced to serve. Pilgrims, Puritans, settlers. What they have in common? Right, exactly. But again, what Charlie Kirk says about we need armed militias to prevent the diminishing and decreasing of white demographics. Not racist. MLK was awful, not a good person. Okay, we got flagged. Everybody, I need your help. I need you to gift like crazy. I need you to tap like crazy. I need you to share like crazy. People are reporting us for what? See, this is what I'm talking about. People are reporting us for what? Because I'm sharing sound from someone and making historical connections, right? That's fine. That's fine. You know what will happen if we get taken down? We'll go back. We'll go back to the backup. We'll come back up. We'll be fine. Anyway, black women do not have the processing power to be taken seriously. You have to go steal a white person's slot. That's fine too, though, right? That's fine. Nothing to see here. Well, let's pivot, okay? Because if we're talking about be the resistance, then let's actually talk about being the resistance. So I'm really psyched to have this conversation. I want to, Benny, hold on a second. Benny, buddy, I got to drop you down, bud, because I pushed the wrong button. I'm sorry about that. I will talk to you again. No problem. I see Jess, and I want to bring Jess up. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning. Sorry, Benny.
How are you? Benny's good. He'll be back. How you doing?
I'm good. How about you? Hi, everybody.
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for being here. So we kind of did a little preview. So as we talk about every single day, friends, as you know me, I'm big on reminding you that apathy is where democracies go to die, and how activism is a muscle, and you have to express those things or exercise those things. And we close our show every day by saying two simple words: do something. Well, I want to introduce you to Jess, because Jess took that to heart. Jess, we have a different relationship separate from this conversation, which is how we kind of met, and now we become friends on TikTok, which I'm completely honored by. Jess and the organization that she's now affiliated with, that she's going to talk to you about, is an example of somebody doing something. So first of all, thank you for being here. I know you said you were nervous. It's all good. We got you. No sweat. We got you. I promise. Why don't you tell us about yourself? Tell us about what it is you're doing, and then what inspired you to do it.
Sure. So I'm Jessica. I'm from Michigan. I'll pull out my map, Southeast Michigan here. And we have a group of Indivisible, Downriver United 734. And so basically, Indivisible in general, it's led by Ezra and Leah, started in 2016. And this is something I learned about when going to a meeting in a local city that was a little far away from me. And I was just tired of yelling at my TV. I was tired of not doing something. And I went to this meeting just to see what it was about and how people are just finding their tribe. They're finding their community that they can maybe have an event, do some action. And I kind of raised my hand in the meeting, and I'm like, is anyone from where I live? Because I would like to start a group. And she'll probably be in the comments, but my co-founder Ashley and I randomly met, and she told me where she lived, and instantly, like, boom, like, she's been in politics so much longer than I have. And we started our group, and it was really refreshing. She's my bestie, and we now run a group of over 1,100 people. And we have very fun rallies, protests. We are now getting politicians that ask us to host them. We do fundraisers, like anything that we can do. And our group has actually inspired our own members to run for local office. So it is kind of wild. And I always call it the ripple effect. The ripple effect is like, if one thing didn't happen, like all these other things didn't, and it turned into this beautiful organization that we have, and we are truly blessed with it.
Tell me about, so most people are familiar with No Kings. So tell us about the connection that Indivisible has to No Kings.
So Indivisible, we have national events. So No Kings was one, and there is another one coming, October 18th. So No Kings is really against authoritarianism. I was actually listening to someone that said empathy is terrible, and we have a sign. Empathy is our superpower.
Absolutely.
I'm an empath. So anywho, but it's a national event that is being held, and between Hands Off, No Kings, our first rally was Hands Off. That was our first event. Had 1,000 people. Like, we thought it was going to be maybe 100, 150. Then No Kings came about. 3,500 people in a small town. And the way we sit, we couldn't really conceptualize how big it got. And we anticipate 2.0 being bigger. The one thing I love about our group is when we started, it is a collaboration. It's not a competition. So we made it a goal to meet all other leaders, whether they're Indivisible, Democratic groups, local groups, to really understand where each person sat and try and collaborate as best as we can. So we really wanted to do that, but we are a very creative group. So, you know, for instance, like No Kings, like we are a very peaceful group. Everyone leaves feeling like their well is full. They got out what they needed to say. They listened to great speakers as far as our local politicians. We'll even have a kids area where they can decorate crowns of just like No Kings. Like, and it was very sweet. And we even had, off of Indivisible on our own, we created a Handmaid's Tale event. And in that, we told people there was we told people there was going to be a surprise. And I'm like, the surprise is at 7. And we had a countdown clock and all this stuff. And so a lot of our group was hidden. We hid. And then 7 o'clock struck. And the church bells, like we had a audio, and people are looking around like, what's going on? And we came out in 2 rows and just walked around saying praise be and all that stuff. And we explained with stories. We each had a story of what the anticipation of Project 2025 would be. And I think it was very impactful. I mean, it wasn't a huge event, but at the same time, it left people a little shook. And for people that don't know at this point what Project 2025 is, it was like a little bit, I don't think humbling is the right word, but just like, holy, you know what? So we're very creative, and we have a great event planned for, keep in mind, mark it in your books. And I don't know if I can do the plug, but if you go to Mobilize, you put in your zip code, and you can find events, local events. It doesn't even have to be Indivisible, but just things that you can do something with. And nothing is too small. Nothing is too small, and I have examples of that. But also Indivisible.org. If you are interested in finding a local group, or you want to start your own, Ashley and I never dreamed, and like I said, she's been in politics longer, and as I know we've discussed, we never thought we would do something like this. But while it is we realized from our conversation that Ashley and I kind of share the same brain a little bit on certain things, right? I was like, wow, we're thinking the same thing. It was so funny. It was such a great conversation. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. No, you're fine. It's serious work. We know that. And when sometimes we go in our leader meetings, you know, it's like, what are Jess and Ash doing this time? And it's like, oh, we have an idea. And but it always goes very smooth, very well. And we have great support. So we're so thrilled, and again, thankful for being here today.
Oh, believe me, it's our pleasure. So one of the things that you mentioned to me, and I'm glad you said this because there's nothing too small, right? Again, the whole concept of doing something is just that, doing something. You know, not everybody's cut out to run for politics. Most people would never even dream of it. Most people didn't even realize that running for office is just one component. Like, there's door knocking, there's phone calls, there's volunteering at events, there's all kinds of things. Now, I know you guys went big at a particular football game in your state. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I would, thank you. So we had a thought, and with multiple groups, it was a group, 3 groups together, had an idea. We want the message bigger. Why don't we just put it in the sky? So if anyone goes to my page, you'll see it. We decided we were going to fly a banner over the big house. And full disclosure, I'm a statey, but in this instance, go blue. I was so happy about this. And so we flew a banner. I have the video in my page, and it said, "Grab them by the Epstein files. Go blue." So people were like, "Whoa!" Like I had someone message me from Florida, like, "Could you guys come here?" And I'm like, "We're just Michigan. Like we're just us." But it led to an idea. Like this really caught on, and whether it's Blue Sky, Facebook, TikTok, like all these things, and word of mouth. So we are creating our own entity. Again, you can create a group. So it will be Sky Indivisible. And our goal is to fly them high, different messages. We love ideas. So if anyone has ideas, please find our group. Right now we're on Facebook, but we do have a website launching soon. I'll put it in my page when it's up and running, but we're pretty pumped. It's going to be great.
So we're talking, friends, if you're just joining, we're talking to Jess from Indivisible, who's part of a chapter created in Michigan. The link to Indivisible is in the link tree in my bio. Also, if you want to support the cause, the link to the Act Blue in support of Indivisible is also in the link tree in my bio. So this is an example of activism. This is an example of doing something. So let's zoom out a little bit and talk about, obviously, we've got Michigan. It's in pretty good hands. And as we discussed, Indivisible is nationwide, that there are chapters in every state. And some of the questions that I asked for you, obviously, it's obviously your chapter, thankfully, between you and Ashley, it's amazingly active. I would assume that there's some activism in other states, but it just may not be the same. Do you know how involved, or let me ask it a different way. How do people who don't live in Michigan get involved other than going to the Indivisible website? And do you see a lot of other states now trying to follow your lead, for example?
Well, I mean, outside of Indivisible, of course, if there are any questions, feel free to let me know and I can help. I do think that even when we call it our tribe, when you find like-minded people, if you can't form a group, there's always a local Democratic club that is around that you can join. In other states, we also had another thought. This is also Ashley and I. It's just like, we love our husbands, but we talk to each other probably more than our husbands because we constantly have ideas. We call them Wheaties. So we had a Wheaties idea of what is happening, say, for instance, in Chicago. This is like Trump canceling that. And we're like, we need some eyes and ears in other states. I'm like, we don't want to wait for the news, the snail stuff. I mean, the news, frankly, for me got paused, and I don't like watching mainstream news in general. I don't. But when I did this past week, it was flooded with what happened this past week. And so I'm like, we need more direct eyes. So we have developed Downriver United Liaisons. So this kind of segues back into nothing is too small. And one of our members has connections with Chicago and direct eyes and ears to it and reports back, like what is happening on the ground. I used to go on lives like for LA just to be witness to what is happening. What do I see? And I have a great example of what I saw that was not on the news. It was, I don't know if I can talk about this, but it was basically LOOTIN, like the attempt to go into places. And a swarm of people stopped them. And you could hear it on audio. This is not what we do. And they picked up the part of the door and they put it back and they guarded it for the rest of what they were doing. It was just one night. I remember seeing that. I'm like, that is not being reported. Sure, you're going to have, some things that happen, but I'm like, I was so proud of that. But going back to like nothing is too small, even just this liaison, like if you're not even from Michigan, you can join us. We would love to have a way for people that say they say, Jess, I can't knock on doors, or Jess, I'm in a wheelchair, or, you know, I just don't have a lot of time, but I can tell you what's happening on the ground. Then guess what? I have to be president, vice president, secretary. You have a position in Indivisible and Downriver United, and we would love to collaborate with that. As a quick segue, even we hosted we greenlighted the last class with Robert Reich, and it was amazing. If we could, you know, put out so many tickets, we could get the theater. Well, we surpassed it. We almost doubled it. And at the end, we put out our Michigan initiatives, because it's not just about Orange Man. It's about us. It's about our state. So a couple initiatives that we have are Mop Up Michigan, getting big money out of politics.
Jesse, excuse me one second. People are asking. They said it's Downriver United. A lot of folks are asking that question. I want to make sure that you can plug your specific.
Downriver United 734.
Yes. Yeah. There you go. Sorry. Yes. Yep.
I know. We were just talking the other day. It's like, man, why do we pick that name? But honestly, we're downriver, we're united, and it is what it is. But so we greenlighted this movie. And afterwards, we talked about these initiatives, Mop Up Michigan and Invest in My MI Kids, to really help support teachers' salaries, support those that are of special needs, that need classes, and those that need lunches, everything. And so these petitions, we were talking about them, and we're looking for circulators. We're looking for that help. And this woman came up to me, and she's like, I can't go door to door. I can't do XYZ. She's like, but I am retired out of education. And she is in a big group, a big panel. And she's like, I would like to take it to that. I'm sorry, I can't do more. And I'm like, that's huge. I'm like, that's amazing. I'm like, just very inspiring that you don't think, as I talk about the ripple effect, that, this is all I can do. It's huge. And I have another example, but I can save it.
No, go. I mean, I think I think it's a really important point, because as we discussed before, again, we're talking to Jess from Downriver United 734. Information about Indivisible, which is nationwide in all 50 states, is in the link tree that's in my bio. Also, if you want to donate to these causes, either state by state or to the Michigan chapter, you can find the ActBlue link. It's also in my bio. And please follow Jess, because she's just an awesome person. And we always joke about Empath Island, Jess. All of us empaths would gather on Empath Island. We wouldn't get anything done. We would get nothing done, but we'd all be taking care of each other. Anyway, so not. I mean, I think it's skill set. So when we talk about, what I always think about when I talk about people or encouraging people to do something, it's whatever you can do, because like you said, there's nothing too small. And people are always thinking about what skills do I have? It doesn't matter, because we all have skills. There's always something that some of us can do. And I think of it outside of the political spectrum. I don't want folks to be focused strictly on it being political. Doing something in your community might just be visiting a neighbor that you know that lives alone. You know, baking cookies for somebody, dropping something off at someone's door, shoveling someone, for those of us who live in northern climates, shoveling someone's driveway, which I'd love. If anybody wants to volunteer to shovel my driveway, I'm totally fine with that. Knock yourself out. Yeah, exactly. If you know, you know. But things like that, because again, activism is a muscle. So my belief, if people join organizations like this, it inspires them to do something else. And then that's part of that ripple effect, right?
It is. And just kind of going to like Ashley and I, we have different gifts. We do. And so for Ashley, as you know, amazing designer of graphics. Hi, and just, she's in there. Yep. And just how well just from the knowledge that she has from everything. And I'm so lucky to have a partner that has such knowledge. I always joke with her that, you know, I'm the funny one. You know, I do some media things, but at the same time, we balance so well, And, you know, even in our group, we have the megaphone people. We know who's going to rile up the crowd. We were just walking in the Detroit Union March, and man, I could have left crying. I probably cried when I got home. It was exhausting, but awesome. We had Mallory McMorrow dancing with us, Debbie Dingle coming by and just cheering us on. Abdul Al-Said, like we have really great candidates in Michigan. We do, and we're trying to give that opportunity in our group to make sure the community knows their options. Whoever wants to get their word out there, we want to be that support and connection so people can make an informed decision. I know I love Mallory too. Abdul's great.
Yes, we love Mallory absolutely for what she does. I remember the moment with the Project 2025 book at the DNC. That was great. Ashley, if you're in the chat, can you just say hi so folks can follow you? I saw a lot of requests come down, so if you could just say hi in the chat, Ash, and that'd be great so people can follow you. So let's talk about your state a little bit, because Michigan is one of those swing states, right? It's one of those states that's always the focus of the 7 states. It's always one of those that is really instrumental in flipping elections, and it's proven to be true. I know there's been some recent success stories on the Supreme Court in your state, and you've got a strong, actually that's Wisconsin, strong governor in your state.
I was going to say Supreme Court happens.
Yeah, that's Wisconsin. Yeah. Sorry, I got my swing states mixed up.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, so obviously it's going to be the focus of every single election. I wish it wasn't that way, be honest, but I think we have to talk about it in terms of the reality. So I think we should talk about the elephant in the room. Obviously, there's been an escalation in political violence, and we know that what's on the rise. And the episode of last week, I think, proved that. So people may be cautious. Right? And from where I look at it throughout history, it does take courage to do these kinds of things. Yes. It does take courage. But I think there's an inspiring message there that just the things that you guys have done, just thinking, what the hell, let's give it a shot. And the impact that it's made, that's the flip side, right? So we can face reality. We know it's out there, but there's so much difference that can be made. Would you agree?
I would. And, you know, I know you know this, but as a doctor too, it's always risk benefits. It's sure. Like, what are the risks? We got to find a good balance. And knowing that we're really cognizant of safety, having marshals, I feel like we live in a pretty safe space, but we are always in connection with our local police departments. We let them know at this point, they're like, dude, you guys are fine. Like, we're not worried about you. Everyone has fun and it's peaceful. We, as Ashley, I think was saying before, we leave the place cleaner than we found it. We show respect because you segue into last week, you reap what you sow. Right. And we try and sow good seeds so that just like one of our fundraisers we have now for our autumn mums, you reap what you sow, and we give respect because we want respect. And I think we've been able to achieve that.
I think it's a great point. And I'm curious too, when you're out doing your things, your community activism, your rallies, your protests, are you seeing opposition?
Honestly, with ours thus far, outside of like honking horns, flashing the bird, screaming out of their car. At one point, I kind of did a double check, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that is my son's friend's mother. And I'm like, ooh, Nelly. I'm like, okay. But prior to our rally, we did have a J6er that came and had, let's call it a pointy thing, and was rustling up the crowd, eventually shoved someone to the ground. And Ashley was the hero and really just, got it taken care of. They took him away. So that was even before our first event. So we were like, okay. But we really have been good, and especially we have things like de-escalation training. Like, and I feel like I'm good at this. Like, I will meet you where you're at, So like, let's step over here and just gripe at me. Put it on me. Like, that's cool. And like, I'm frustrated too, and just finding a common ground. As another example, and I did a video on this. I was on an anniversary trip with my husband recently in Las Vegas. I talked to a MAGA for about 45 minutes. And we were just hitting the slots, talking about life and politics, and he had on a hat and everything. And he was older, so I don't really think activism-wise I made an impact, but he's like, well, what do I do now? And I want to be able to start by taking off the hat. I didn't say that. But I'm like, just be aware. Factual things. Don't get triggered. Sit in it for a second if it bothers you, and just realize that, you know, at least from our side, we're trying to do right by others, and that includes MAGA. We're trying to do right by you, and if you're going to see it in a different way, then it sounds like a you problem and not an us problem.
Right.
Just saying.
That's a really interesting perspective. We talk about it in the space, and I think everybody has their own, approaches to how we build bridges or whatever that might be. I'm as an empath, I think about this often. Like, I'm not ready to break bread yet with someone there. Like, if I'm not the one that's going to be reaching out, right? It's different though when you're in public. Let's be real. I think it's different when you're in public, because part of me still has to believe that there's more. Ultimately, there's more that connects us than divides us. But just we look at it differently. You can't ignore the rhetoric that comes from the right these days. You can't ignore it, how it's targeted at marginalized communities, and how it's hateful, and how it causes dissension, and how it causes division. We can't ignore that. That's real. That happens. But I think organizations like Indivisible and programs of which you've started and are now affiliated with, statewide, No Kings, whatever they might be, it is to benefit everyone. And I think people who've become tribal, right, especially those in opposition to what you're doing, don't understand that. I don't think they see it that way. For people who, for example, want to go out and promote healthcare, public health, as we've discussed, want to invest in public health, want to invest in education, want to invest in the social safety net. That is for everyone. So I hope that more interaction, human to human, face to face, might convince some people, right? Are you finding that at all, or okay?
I am, and I have a couple instances, and it is kind of, it's a little, I don't even want to say uncomfortable, but when you're as hoity as it sounds, when you're true to yourself and you know that you're doing the right thing, it's easier to really have that stance. So just feeling that you're in the right space. So for instance, like I said, I'm in medicine, and I had someone come up to me, like, not understanding the big crappy bill. And they're like, what do hospitals need Medicaid, Medicare for anyway, like funding? And I'm like, and I explained, and they're like, oh, I'm like, it's not money that people keep in their back pocket. It's what keeps hospitals open. And even where I'm working, it is extremely rural. I think it'll all be fine for that area, but at the same time, it just, in medicine, getting through COVID, getting through C-19, getting through that, I don't know why I can't say that, and all of this with the bill, it's a little mind-blowing, and I'm just doing as a plug for someone that works in medicine. It's very disheartening. It's kind of like a gut punch that you got 2 or 3 times, but it's like, all right, fortitude, keep going. But having these conversations with people, another instance, I was called a name, and I was like, boo-hoo, you've probably gotten worse. And, I just sent a positive message back. And then I got direct message by the same person saying, I am sorry, you did not deserve that. My emotions were high. And kind of segueing back into being emotionally checked. So, it was nice because there was an exchange of just like, it's all good. Like, I've done it too, but I've learned how to respond and not react as best I can. I'm sure I slip from time to time, but it opened up a conversation. So that was cool.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. Obviously, these and I think the big picture, and I want people to really understand this, is that when we talk about expansion of public health benefits, and when we talk about expansion of education and social service programs, and perhaps increasing the federal minimum wage, that benefits everyone. I always joke here, like I'm radical because I believe everybody should have health care, shelter, food, and water. Like that is so radical. Like, whoa, so radical. And
until you don't have it, then people care.
Exactly.
Like, look at the budget.
That's exactly right. That's kind of the point. So these programs like Indivisible, although they're going to be potentially targeted, we don't know. Obviously, they're going to be deemed this radical threat. And I just wish people would understand that on the collective, because I firmly believe in the all boats rise mindset, right? If we support communities that truly need our support, then we all do better overall. And I think it's programs like Indivisible, and I think it's protests like No Kings that are peaceful, that are designed to show people that we don't have to tolerate this stuff, that we don't have to do it, because they want us fighting this way, and we should be fighting that way, right? And it's programs like yours. So, yeah. So let's go back to the structure. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Gotcha.
No, I just mind blanked on the state that is going to be doing healthcare. But just the point that we wait sometimes for legislators to do things. Well, as we can see, not much. I mean, there's some good ones out there, but not much is happening. You get enough people together. I mean, everyone talks about grassroots, and I feel like it's turning into a word that people are like, woke or whatnot. I'm like, no, but it's true. I'm like, starting locally, sowing those seeds expands like the ripple effect. And you don't have to wait for legislation, because we've even had a meeting not too long ago, and it was with our Senator Gary Peters, and he was like, we hear you, like we see what y'all are doing. And frankly, it came off as like they felt supported, because it's reciprocal. I know they're up there, but they need the encouragement or criticism just as much as we do. Like, we learn from our mistakes. We get enriched by when people say that they're motivated to keep going or take it a step further or just show up. So yeah, but you were talking about the structure. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I want to. So if people are watching, again, we're talking to Jess. Jess is from where do you live on the Mitten? Somewhere in that area, somewhere in the Mitten. Anyway, yeah. South so you're Downriver United 734. In Michigan is the Michigan chapter affiliated with Indivisible. So as we've discussed here, we know Indivisible is nationwide in every state. Say, for example, someone wants to be part of or start a division of Indivisible like yours. What would your advice to be for someone who wants to do that? What I'm saying is we're gonna clone you and Ashley, and they're gonna be in a different state.
Ashley, are you there? Can you imagine that?
Well, that's what we're trying to find, right? So what would that look like?
As John Lewis says, that would be some good trouble, good necessary trouble.
Indeed.
But if you are interested, indivisible.org, there are over 100 active chapters in Michigan alone. So you can find one locally. So, I don't want people to take away, you must start a group. There are so many around you. Like, even when we started, we didn't realize how many groups are around us, which is a segue into why we wanted to meet other leaders. Like, we don't want to step on any toes. We're fresh off the press, hot, new on the streets. But just to really just do a simple search, but indivisible.org is a great organization. I mean, there are just leader meetings, even for support, and just keeping up on the day-to-day, but at the same time keeping you focused, because you're going to get squirrel, and not that each issue is not important. Each thing is, but it's like, what is the mission? What, like for us, like our mission right now outside of our, some local community events, it's No Kings 2.0 on October 18th. That's it. And it's going to be a great time. But they really do a great job in terms of if you join one of these groups or decide to start one of your own. I think the hardest part about starting the group was picking the name. Like, it's really that easy. And it's a little bit, I'll say, liberating and just like cathartic is maybe the word, because it's just like, I'm doing something. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then, you know, when we started it, we're like, okay, what now? And, you know, we just wrapped our minds around some ideas and gave it a shot, and it worked out.
I think that's the most interesting, one of the most interesting elements of this whole thing is that they could potentially be cause-based. It could be created in individual state for a particular reason, but it's got connections to the national organization of indivisibility, because then it lends immediate credibility, right? There's this organized group that is growing, but that's got the umbrella of Indivisible. It's connected to national groups like No Kings. It's got connections to Act Blue for fundraising. So it could be anything. So it could be a cause. It could be literally cause-oriented.
You'll see Ezra Levin. He's mainly the spokesperson that we see on TV, and he's really out there. Their whole team is so incredibly supportive. And even though, you know, they're way up here, they feel right here. And it's really important. And by the way, for this Act Blue that is in your link tree, that comes directly to us. Like, it is like not how, love the TikTok shop, but you know what I mean? It is a direct way to help us keep going. Because as many people always say, like, who's paying you to do this? I'm like, frankly, I'm in the negative. But I am having fun, frankly, doing it. I will keep doing it because I know it's making an impact. So those funds come directly to us. But I just lost it. But yeah, it's been a journey. It's been a really rewarding journey.
Well, Jess, this has been great. I mean, I think what I've learned from this community and from talking to people, and again, I'm humbled by the amount of support that we get here. But I think we're at a time now where people feel like if they've not been involved before in anything, if they've just been apathetic about their approach to politics or just moving through life, right? It's been okay up until this point, but it's not okay anymore.
Well, I'm saying it when I say it's okay, like, don't let that deter you.
Exactly.
From stepping in now.
Exactly.
So it's I guess I could have said that a different way, but then you have that check, now that you were apathetic. And what are you going to do with that? Just like people that regret their vote. It's all well and good. Appreciate that. So what are you going to do now? Like, what is something that you disagreed with that now you see the light? Then focus your energy on that. Dig a little bit more. And I was actually going to duet this guy that went through a 5-minute journey of his mindset change. And it was like, I'm just listening to this. I'm like, I got to do it just for my reaction. Because I was like, wow, like, he really did a lot of introspection on breaking down how that was built up. And it was really... I don't want to say inspiring, but very eye-opening for me.
Sure.
And I was grateful for that, because after a lot of the work that we do, if you can just change one mind or have one conversation, it makes your day. It makes my day. So.
Yeah, or conversely, even if you can't change a mind, if you can motivate someone who ideologically aligns with you to become more involved, that's also a win. Right, because I struggle with the fact that we struggle to get 62 to 64% of our registered voters to vote. That bothers me. It's always bothered me. So that's a big push for me to show people that yes, your vote does matter. Yes, your voice does matter. And these organizations, either like yours or others, that can encourage someone's activism, so to speak. Right. And
even a signature matters. Like for our initiatives that we have for Michigan, we need for one about 700,000 votes by February. Who was like, and these are great things. Like, who doesn't want big money out of politics? Yeah. Who doesn't want that? And who doesn't want to support the kids? And so even by a signature, it's like, you're doing something. Build on it. You're doing something.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Someone just asked the question. Again, the link to Indivisible is in the link tree. So yes, there are chapters in every state. So that's what people should know. So you can go to either to mobilize.us, right? Isn't it mobilize.us?
I got to double check. I'm so sorry. I thought it was mobilize.org.
I think you're actually right, but the link to Indivisible is there, and that will get you there as well. So you can go to the link that's in the link tree in my bio, the Indivisible link, and that will show you that there are chapters everywhere. And I guess what I think maybe I won't put words in your mouth, but the message that I'm hearing is it doesn't matter what organization or affiliation or program that you choose to get involved in. What matters is your activism. What matters is you're realizing that we have an opportunity. If we want, what are you willing to do?
Right.
What would you like your closing message to be today, friend?
Well, I don't know why your opinions, your voice, it doesn't matter. It does. And you have a tribe out there. You have people that align with what you think. And believe me, there are some people that are near and dear to me that just don't get it. So I decided to find my own tribe. And because of that, it has not only, I think, helped in the grand scheme of local activism, getting people into office national-wise, but as a personal fulfillment. Not only have I found a wonderful tribe, I got a best friend and a sister out of it. So love you, Ash.
That's the best. Jess, thank you again so much for doing this. And like we discussed before, as this Rolling Stone gathers more and more moss, you'll come back and you'll give us more updates. At some point, we expect to see you skydiving into Michigan Stadium with a big flag over your head or whatever that might be. Seriously, I'm just planting the seed. I'm just saying. I was going to say, you never know. You never know. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. It's been an absolute honor. I appreciate you. Have a good day. Be safe out there. Okay.
Talk to you soon. Bye, guys.
All right. Bye. Again, thank you for everybody for indulging that. That's fantastic. Once again, the reminder, indivisible.org. The link is in the link tree that's in my bio. You can also find the Act Blue link referencing their organization, Downriver United 734, and proceeds raised through Act Blue after, of course, they get their cut for funding the program will go directly to Jess and Ash for what they do. So that's an example, friends. When we talk about being the resistance, when we talk about doing something, when we talk about understanding that apathy is where democracies go to die, because it's true, right? So if we've learned anything from this space, thank you, Jess, appreciate you. From this space or others like it, it is literally on us. There's no one is looking out for us. No one. Doesn't matter your political ideology. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle you sit on. They are not looking out for us. They are protecting each other. The collective they, right? We certainly know that we can point to it's not a both sides situation in our current system. Without question, it's not a both sides issue. But at the end of the day, once we get through this hellscape, if we want it to change, then be the change that you want to be, right? Be part of it. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make the change. Michael, right? So those are examples. So I was really psyched when I heard about what Jess and Ash are doing, and I got a chance to spend an hour on the phone with them on Sunday as we talked about the Today Show and their appearance. So it's on us. It's on us. You got to play that song now. Yeah, exactly. So that's why it's important. So again, thank you, Jess. Thank you, Ash, for being here. Hopefully that's inspired people. Last little plug, indivisible.org. Link to the link is in the link tree that's in my bio and also the Act Blue link. So thank you. Okay, do we have any guests? I'll bring Benny up now, since he was very kind to give up his seat for that conversation. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Friendly neighbor from up north. How's it going, eh?
Good, buddy. What's going on?
Oh, well, a couple things that I want to talk to everybody about here. First of all, I want to appreciate Jess for coming up. Here, I had shared this one in the Discord. Apparently, the FBI had found a manifesto. Tyler Robinson had made a manifesto detailing that he was a liberal and his roommate was trans and all that stuff. And somehow the manifesto got destroyed. So
we played that sound. Yeah, we played that sound. Yeah.
Present the evidence, but then the evidence got like what?
Correct.
I don't know.
Yes.
Yes. You can't make this shit up, man. Holy shit.
No, you can't. And I think that it kind of proves the point of, as we've discussed since the events of last week, it's an attempt by the right because they cannot accept. First of all, they can't imply to their base that the overwhelming majority of political violence exists on the right. So they have to find a distraction. They have to find someone to blame. They're flat out just literally lying to the faces of their voters because
smart people don't like me.
Because smart people don't like him, and they are capitalizing on that. They are capitalizing on that. They know their base, not the brightest bulbs on the tree, and that's a compliment. They know that they will continue to lie, and whatever lie they tell, even if they have to lie on top of the lie, their base will just follow the lie because that's what cults do.
Sorry, froze up a bit there.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I could go on about that, but the other thing that I wanted to talk about is in Canada, specifically in Toronto, there was an anti-immigration rally held this past Saturday by a white supremacist organization known as Canada. And the one important detail to mention about that is it was held in Christie Pitts Park. Now, why is that significant? That is because I believe it was during the 1930s, there was a Yahtzee rally held in that same park. Now, they were driven out, not just in the 30s, but also on Saturday. The Canada First boys were outnumbered 10-1. So people showed up. They didn't want them there. Police had to get involved, and they were driven out. I believe 10 people were arrested. And the entire time, as the Canada First boys were being walked out, everybody that was counter-protesting them were following them, giving them cat calls, booing them, basically just, showing that they're goofs and yahoos. People showed up. People said, "No, thank you. We don't want you here. Fuck off." And that's the kind of energy that that I think we need to be channeling in these times. We're not getting violent. We're not getting up in arms. We're showing them, "No, thank you. Please leave.
Yeah,
fuck off."
I think I agree. I think I want to be careful how I say this because I can't contradict myself about activism and involvement. But I'll just say it. It's going to take guts. I want to make sure that people understand that we know that every single time democracy's been under threat, it's always been black women that have shown up. We know that historically, especially in our country. We know that always been historically. So all communities, it's nothing new. It's nothing new to the black community. It's nothing new to the brown community. It's nothing new to the indigenous community in general or the queer community that they're always under threat under perfect conditions. So here we are, right? Here we are, we palm-colored people who've just let somebody else take up the fight, who've let somebody else throw their hat in the ring. It's now time for us to do it. It's now time for people to say, I'm done with this. I want a better way. I'm going to stop being lazy. I'm going to stop being entitled, especially entitled leftists. Quite frankly, entitled leftists really discourage me because ideologically, we align on lots of things. But when the time came, they just chose one issue. Instead, the ideological left has got to stop looking for fucking perfection. It's got to stop and understand that sometimes your vote is about harm reduction. Sometimes your vote is about harm reduction. I'm going to talk about Trey Reed. I saw that story in just a moment, Katie, but thank you. Sometimes that's what this is about. And I know it's a little bit different, but you're getting the Maple MAGAs, and that's showing up in Canada as well. And you're seeing this across the world, but you're also seeing around the world a lot of resistance. You're starting to see people really stand up. And other democracies have done a better job of pushing back against the far right than our country has. So we'll see.
Yeah, it was like a video I saw. It was a skit a guy did where he was presenting one side as the progressives and he was presenting the other side as MAGA, and the MAGA person kept poking the progressive in the face constantly, just like, and then eventually the progressive reaches out and just stops.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, exactly.
And then the MAGA started crying like, and it was just, you can only punch down so much before eventually you're going to get hit back. It's going to happen one way or another.
You're right. So thank you as always for jumping in today, brother. I really appreciate you. Keep the fight. People missed you, so I'm glad you're back. By the way, good growth in the facial. Good growth in the facial here, my guy. Thanks for representing.
Thank you. I'm taking care of it. Got some nice balms and oils I've been using. I'm looking to grow out the beard. I want to see how long I can get it. So
there you go. There you go. And eventually it will turn this color. So just let you've got years to practice that, but eventually.
I'm gonna own it. I'm gonna age gracefully. That's my plan. Just own it. Be in it, right? So you say things like what are you gonna do? Like what kind of action are you willing to take? And as someone working in nonprofits, I work in a mental health related field, right? I'm helping out at the local level, and I said it in the chat. Where do you start? You start local. You support local, because you got to start somewhere, right?
You do, exactly. I love you, buddy. Your sign off is,
as I always say, elbows up. Keep your stick on the ice, folks.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you, pal. All right, I think I've got. Let's see here. I'll be right. I just got to do something real quick, guys. I forgot to do something. I'll be right back. Sorry. Here's this. So it's heating season up here, propane season, and if you get your delivery before October, you get a discount. And I forgot to make the payment online, and they won't deliver. So I saw the truck come up, so I had to check on the counter, but I forgot to leave it for the driver. So that's what I did. Anyway, back. I'm glad that it's good to see many. I think the reality of what we are facing in our world now is the rise of right-wing extremism everywhere. And thank you. And for people who don't know, heating season, it's a big deal. I used to heat with wood. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you. Anyway, the rise of right-wing extremism is prevalent everywhere. You see, Tommy Robinson in the UK, who people idolize him. He's a convicted felon. He's got DV charges against him. He's just a trash human being, and he's gaining popularity. And then they invite Elon Musk to speak to their crowd of rabid, bloodthirsty right-wing clowns, right? So it's on all of us, right? It is on all of us. I say this a lot. What kind of country do you want? What kind of country do you want? Do you want one where we have access to healthcare and better education, right? Where we're doing our best to get money out of politics, where guaranteed school children can eat, access to clean water, clean air, shelter. It's just the fact that is considered extreme is just wild to me. Wild to me. Another special guest. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Howdy. I am well. How are you?
I'm good. Missouri in the house.
Yes.
Thank you for being
representing here. Missouri, kind of unfortunately at this time. But I just wanted to get up, since we were talking about change, I wanted to get up and plug a little bit of the citizens referendum that was filed last week in response to the legislature, I still can't say that word, passing the gerrymandered congressional map in Missouri.
Just passed, right?
Yeah, last week. And then on Friday, the referendum was filed by the group People Not Politicians Missouri. So because that referendum was filed, we now have 90 days, well, less than 90 days now, to have enough signatures to send this to a public vote on the ballot instead of, the legislature, I said it right, making all the decisions for us. So if you live in Missouri, anybody out there, I know every time I say this, there's always a bunch of people that say, Missouri too. So I didn't know we had so many people in Missouri, but I'm so glad we do. So if you're in Missouri, go ahead and go to Steve's bio and go to the link tree. And there is a link in there. It's by Motivate, but it says People Not Politicians Missouri. And it's for the citizens referendum again, where we can get enough signatures to have the gerrymandered congressional map go to a public vote instead of them deciding it for us. So if you guys want to do that, sign it, pass it on. Thank you, LJ. And
it's only for Missouri residents, right, Sam? It can only
as far
be,
as I can
sign
tell, yeah, because it makes you put in your zip code. So I think it's just tracking, that you're Missouri. Obviously, I can't check that from a different zip code, but I assume I'm not sure how, or I'm not sure why they would let people from not Missouri do it. I'm really not sure. I need to check that. Actually, you should try it and you tell me.
I will do you a solid. I'll be the guinea pig. Okay. No problem.
Awesome.
Again, that link is in the link tree in my bio. There's all kinds of shit going on in the link tree in our bio right now. All kinds of causes, all kinds of initiatives, all kinds of programs.
All good stuff.
All good stuff. All kinds of ways that you can also, including the link to the Discord, also the link to the merch store. That's in there too.
Yes.
But yeah, so if you haven't yet, go to the link. It's in the link tree in my bio. By the way, if you're over there, you can also click the link to watch the stream on YouTube, and you can subscribe to YouTube. And hearts in the chat for Sam, because Sam is the one that keeps the YouTube up and running every single day for us while she's doing 9 gazillion other things. So thank you for that.
As long as my internet cooperates.
Yeah, Drew just said Steve's link tree is a link forest at this point. That is very, very true.
It's a jungle out there.
It is a jungle out there. Anything else you would like to plug today, friend?
Oh, goodness. Let's just keep tapping and sharing the live so that we can stay out there for everybody. Super important information. Guys, don't forget, I know that Steve said it, but that we still have a merch store. We still have all the goodies. We're getting some more stuff. I think Anachronista is designing us some new merch, so we'll have that soon. Let's see. And you said that the TikTok is changing how they do subscriptions. So let's go ahead and support with all of the various awesome apps that are also in the link tree.
Correct. And they're all at Factsstillmatter if you want to participate. Yes. But yes. Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you. You go down the slide. You ready?
Okay. Wee.
Okay. So all that stuff. Thank you, Drew. You're right. The link tree has become a link jungle, but it's important because a lot of the stuff that we talk about here ends up over there, and we're trying to be consistent by being, a source for activist information, I guess you could say. So thank you all very, very much. And yes, if you do want to support the channel, we are crowdfunded. Okay. Shifting gears a little bit. There was a story that, let me close the loop. We've got the Vice President of the United States hosting Charlie Kirk's show. That's just not fucking normal. It's just not. Yes, thank you, Sam. Hearts in the chat for Sam, please. Everybody, Sam will be the face of our mods today. Hearts in the chat for Sam, which then becomes hearts in the chat for everybody. So hearts in the chat for Sam. And one of his first guests was Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller in my opinion, is quite possibly the biggest threat there is to our democracy, because he doesn't care about collateral damage. He doesn't care. He just doesn't care. So I will play this. I was hesitant to play it, but I think it's necessary. So this is what Stephen Miller on Fox recently has had to say.
The rhetoric that you played, the messages that you played in that clip are the same exact rhetoric and messages that are used by the assassins, that are used by the 2 assassins who tried to kill Donald Trump, that are used by the assassin who claimed the life of my friend. An American hero, Charlie Kirk.
American hero?
This is willful and deliberate radicalization. They know what they're doing. Our universities, in many cases, have become incubators for extremism. They become the equivalent of majority.
Let's remind people of something, because yesterday, I played you sound of Megyn Kelly and other Fox talking heads saying that he was indoctrinated. The alleged assassin was indoctrinated at colleges and universities, and the university he attended for 1 month, by the way, 1 semester, is one of the most conservative colleges in America. Let's be real. It's in Utah. It is one of the top 10, or depending on the scale, either top 10 or top 15 most conservative colleges in the country. Okay? And they want to continue to tell you this lie because, don't forget,
smart people don't like me.
Exactly. Let them say that all they want. Let them say all they want. And then, by the way, after that 1 semester at one of the most conservative colleges and universities in the country, in one of those, he went to a trade school. So is being an electrician or a plumber or an HVAC specialist, is that now considered woke? Were you indoctrinated into those programs as well? This is why I say, let's keep the fucking pressure on, okay? Let's keep the pressure on. Here's back to this piece of trash.
Madrasas for jihadism. There is a domestic terrorism movement in this country. When you see these organized doxing campaigns where the left calls people enemies of the republic, calls them fascists, says they're Nazis.
Funny that there's a website now that is built to intentionally dox people on the left or the right that are critical of Charlie Kirk. Funny.
Says they're evil, says they have to be removed, and then prints their addresses. What do you think they're trying to do? They are trying to inspire someone to murder them. That is their objective. That is their intent. And when you see online, Sean, as we've seen for the last few days, tape after tape after tape of federal workers, bureaucrats, staffers in the Pentagon, educators, professors, healthcare workers, nurses, celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk. These are radical people. There is a domestic terrorism movement in this country. And let me tell you something I've not shared with anybody, but the last message that Charlie Kirk gave to me before he joined his creator in heaven,
oh God,
was he said that we have to dismantle and take on the radical left organizations in this country that are fomenting violence. That was the last message that he sent me before that assassin stole him from all of us.
Why is he yelling? It's a good question. He always, all he does is yell. Exactly. Where's that post? Terry, yeah, led by you, Stephen Miller. That's exactly right. I want to report on a story that didn't get covered. It happened at Delta State University, and I've been trying to find more information about this particular story. I think it's appropriate now. Again, nothing new for the black community. Delta State University cancels classes after a student found hanging from a tree. Heartbreaking discovery shook Delta State University Monday when officials found a student from a tree on campus. Authorities have confirmed that no foul play is suspected in the death. Student was identified as 21-year-old Damar Travian or Trey Reed from Grenada, Mississippi. University Police Chief Mike Peeler reported that Reed was discovered around 7 a.m. near the pickleball courts in the central part of campus. Peeler stated there are no indications of foul play in Reed's death and confirmed the Boulevard County Coroner's Office took Reed's body for an autopsy. The Mississippi Bureau of Criminal Investigation, along with local agencies, will assist in reviewing the circumstances. In response to the tragedy, Delta State University made the difficult decision to cancel classes. Why would it be difficult? Difficult decision to cancel classes and temporarily shut down operations. While many students were concerned about their safety, Peeler emphasized that no threat remains on campus. I just want to confirm this is a safe campus. Delta State is a beautiful place to be. It's just unfortunate this loss that comes heavily to our campus, Peeler said at a press briefing. The university's president added that while it's still uncertain when classes will resume, the administration plans to restart normal operations as soon as possible. Reed's death left many students and faculty devastated. Hang on a second. Left many faculty and staff devastated. Known by friends as Trey, he was described as a bright young man with a promising future. While details of his life remain private out of respect for his family, the campus community has already begun planning memorial tributes in his honors. Campus leaders encourage students to lean on one another during this difficult time. Counselors have been made available and peer support groups are being organized to provide safe spaces for grief and for reflection. Authorities have made clear that this incident is still under review. The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation is working closely with Delta State University Police and the Boulevard County Coroner's Office to ensure full transparency. Peeler reiterated that no foul play is suspected, but stressed that the investigation will follow standard procedures, including a full autopsy. Such steps are essential to provide clarity and closure to the family and university community. Trey Reed. Young black man at a college in Mississippi. There's all kinds of reporting about a previous altercation and or incident with members of a fraternity on campus. Don't know. But the FBI, if they truly did care about crime, might want to think about supporting and or providing resources to an investigation like that instead of trying to make up lies about missing manifestos and or destroyed or deleted manifestos. But that's just me. We'll continue to track this story. By the way, I meant to remind people that there is a No Kings protest scheduled for October 18th. Check your resources. Go to invisible.org. The link is in the link tree that's in my bio. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
I'm a little saddened by what happened. I went to two HBCUs back in the 80s and 90s. I went to Bowie State and I went to Howard University. I wish I could say that threats and bomb threats are the exception, not the norm, but they are normal. When I went to Bowie State, that's in a part of Maryland that has an active Klan. When I went to Howard, it was not uncommon whenever something happened for us to get bomb threats. I am so tired of hearing about how somebody has, quote unquote, off themselves through suicide when that is not the form we take. We do not do that. That reminds us of lynchings. That is the one way we do not take to unalive ourselves. And for them to sit up and say he had a manifesto, he committed suicide is bullshit. Okay. And I'm here to tell you that.
There were two other examples yesterday. Weren't there two other examples yesterday of two other young black men in Mississippi?
Yes, and we have truck drivers who are missing. Black truck drivers are not going into North Carolina because they're coming up missing. There's a female black truck driver that's missing. This, to say that this is just to provoke us, to try to get us to engage. It always is. From what I understand, one of the authors of, Project 2025, did his PhD dissertation on the African American community. And he said we were predictable. We're not predictable. We know how to move in society to protect ourselves. And right now, we are not engaging. And everything that's being done is meant to provoke us, because the excuse is always, we're the problem. And right now, we're not out in the streets. We're not rioting. Even that governor in Utah, this really pissed me off the other day when he realized that Kirk's assassination was not one of us, well, at least we aren't rioting and we aren't burning cars. And I thought to myself, well, we didn't go out on January 6th because our candidate didn't win. We're not the ones who tear up towns after a football game, the World Series, a basketball game, winning the Stanley Cup for hockey. That's all people having good fun when they do it. And what really burns me up is they keep trying to put Kirk up there with Dr. King and Malcolm X and, what's the Black Panther? I can't remember. Henry. I'm sorry. I'm a little upset this morning, so I can't think clearly.
I get you.
Hammond.
You don't need to apologize.
Yeah. And so for me, one of the reasons why I have kind of checked out is because I refuse to let them provoke me to the point where they get to harm me and my family. I'm just not doing it. A lot of us have decided we are not going to allow ourselves to be dragged into this so that they can harm us, so that the police have a reason, so that the FBI has a reason, so that the president has a reason. We refuse to be the scapegoats any longer. So we are stepping back. We are disengaging. Okay? We have finally decided the best way to win the game is not to play. So we are not doing this anymore. So what saddens me,
what choice do you have, Cage? Like, what choice do you have?
we really don't. And my youngest daughter is in my youngest daughter is in the UK right now. She lives right down, not too far from where that alt-right protest in the UK in London was on the 13th. I haven't heard from her for a couple of days. Now I'm a little worried because she's supposed to be back in Germany. My middle daughter is in Germany. So this, I am so tired of people blaming us, marginalized communities, when the problem is the hate groups in this country. That's the problem. It's not us. Even the FBI is saying they are the biggest threat. They are the domestic terrorists. And yet,
absolutely,
this poor little girl who was unalived on the train, the Ukrainian girl. Now, mind you, I lived in Lithuania. Okay, my heart goes out to her and her family. Absolutely. And my heart goes out to him and not to him, but to his family, because his mother said, look, he should have never been let out. My son is mentally ill. The system failed both him and her.
Agreed.
And you know who's directly to blame for that? Ronald Reagan, for emptying out all of those institutions that would have kept somebody just like him. She would be alive right now if he was in an institution, because he was saying the government was putting thoughts in his head and all. His own mother said, his sister said, look, he's mentally ill. He should have never been out on the streets. And yet they're going to use that. They're going to use that as, oh, look, all black men are dangerous. No, that one was mentally ill, let out, and he had been put in jail. I think his mother said that he had been evaluated, and 24 hours later, they kept putting him back on the streets. Those are the types of things that it just makes me so angry, because I live in a part of Maryland, not too far, where a young lady named Dakara was kidnapped and unalived, not too far from where I live. Crickets. The young lady who was unalived on the subway, I think it was in California. The guy stabbed her, unalived her, and stabbed one of her sisters. Crickets. We had to find that out here on TikTok. But I guarantee you, they're going to make a big to-do about this young girl in North Carolina, as if this doesn't happen to marginalized communities.
Every day.
By white men. Yeah, every day. And they're going to try to pretend like this kid in Mississippi unalived himself, which we know we do not choose that method. It's just not one we choose.
Correct.
Because we know if somebody is going to unalive themselves in our community, the last thing we want to do is stir up that kind of trauma for our families.
Correct.
It's going to be a different way. It's going to be either with a pew-pew, pills, poison, something other than that. Okay? Take get in a bathtub. You understand what I'm saying? Jump off a bridge. It's going to be something.
I know exactly what you're saying. And anything but what happened.
Anything but that. And they always want to say, oh, it was a suicide. Okay, so the young truck driver who was 21 years old, who had just got a CDL license, who was happy, he all of a sudden decided to unalive himself. This is ridiculous that this continues in this country today. That anytime something happens to a marginalized person, in particular my community, it's like, oh, well, you know what? It's suicide, case closed. And isn't Mississippi the state where they found the 260 people buried behind the jail?
Yes.
Okay, so Mississippi's credibility is kind of shot at this point.
Yes.
So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to rant this morning, but it's just...
Why are you apologizing? Seriously, don't apologize.
Well, you know me, I normally keep it even in the even keel. I don't try to be angry. I'm just really tired. I think our communities are weary because there's always a reason and even with Kirk's assassination, what's the first thing that they did? They started going after our campuses like we had something to do with it. And then for their governors to say, oh, we were hoping. So in other words, you were itching to come after a marginalized person. That's what he just did. You were itching for it. So now that it's one of yours, y'all are doing this. Oh my God, what do we do? It's the same old, same old. When it's one of theirs, it's, well, we got to figure out what happened. I mean, we this poor soul. But if it's one of a marginalized community, you know what? You can't string them up fast enough.
Correct. Ignoring the fact that Mississippi and Louisiana for the past 20 years have gone back and forth to the highest rates of violent crimes. You know, whether it be I mean, seriously, it's been the states that have the highest rates of poverty, the highest rates of maternal mortality, the highest rates of infant mortality,
illiteracy,
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it's your community's fault, right? Got it.
Here's the thing that really, really, and I think this is the most succinct way I can put it. Okay. I don't understand the obsession with my community. I really don't understand it. I don't understand the obsession with the Native American community. I don't understand the obsession with us. I don't understand why we have to be under a microscope. I don't understand why the conservatives have to feel so powerful and in control. Joy Reid said it the other day. They got everything they wanted and they're still not happy. And I think I can understand why. My ex-husband was white, and I remember he had to have his way all the time. And when he got his way, he still wasn't happy. You know why? Because I was not happy. And his whole thing was, well, I'm happy. Why aren't you happy? Because you're doing everything at mine and the kids' expense. Of course we're not happy. And it's the same thing with the conservatives. We're happy. We got everything we wanted. How dare you not be happy that we are able to do this to you? How dare you not want us to do this? How dare you not look at us and validate us? And that's what it all boiled down to. When I didn't validate my ex-husband, he got upset. And that's what it all boils down to. They need everybody's validation. And to me, it's like, okay, if you need our validation, then that tells me you don't have an internal compass to validate yourself. Because they should be happy. They've gotten everything they wanted and they're still not happy because we all are not validating them. We all have said, you know what? We're checking out. You have this, we'll be over here. That's what I think is really what's burning them up. They got everything and it's a hollow victory because nobody on this end, and I won't say the left, I'm talking about marginalized communities, I'm talking about liberals, progressives, moderates. Nobody's giving them the whole, oh, we're so happy that you're exploiting and abusing us. We're so happy that you're continuing the police brutality. We're so happy you're continuing the ICE raids. We're so happy you're continuing to take away everybody's rights. We're so happy about that. They're pissed because the rest of us are saying, okay, you go over there with that and you see how that works out for you.
Part of it too, Cage, in my opinion, is that your community in particular are smarter than they are, more educated than they are, and harder working than they are. And they can't accept it, which is my belief why they don't want to expand rights for everyone. Because if universal health care means your community is going to get access to health care, that's going to bother them. Raising the federal minimum wage means your community is going to benefit from that, and that's going to bother them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, they don't want us to have anything. Yep. And here's the crazy part. Whenever I hear people say we're gaming the system, you don't hear black farmers complaining right now because they didn't get the subsidies to begin with. You don't hear people like me complaining right now because my next class is my capstone for my MBA. You don't hear me complaining. I had to work hard to get this. You don't hear us complaining about it. They're mad because women like me are starting businesses. We're going into business with other people. We know how to survive. We are never given anything. And anything that we are given comes with very extreme strings. So at this point in time, I personally am just worn out from the fact that they're just obsessed with us. Charlie Kirk was obsessed with us as Black women. Trump is obsessed with us. They're obsessed with harming us. It's like, why I feel like saying, who did you, and I know a lot of the alt-right are going to be mad when I say this, but my first thought is, who hurt you? Who did you approach that said, hey, I don't do white men? Who said that to you? Who told you to your face, I don't do white men? That's what I feel like this is all about. Because it just doesn't make sense to be so obsessed with us. We're just living our lives, taking care of our families, doing what we need to do. And yet it's always a Black women, Black women, Black women, Black. It's like, we're over here. Why do you care what's going on with us?
Exactly.
And with that, I land my plane. Thank you so much, Steve, for letting me up today.
Love you, my friend. Be safe out there.
You too.
Talk to you soon. All right, bye.
Talk to you.
She's right. I mean, it's emblematic of the entire right-wing movement, especially because they, the leadership of the right-wing movement knows that their supporters are just not very bright, quite frankly. And they will just, they want to point to someone to blame for their own mediocrity, instead of accepting the fact that white men in America, I said this before, I want to make sure I say it the right way. In my opinion, white men in America are the most privileged group of people in human history. In particular, not born into privilege. They weren't born into privilege, but they have become the most privileged. And they won't accept it. We won't accept it. And they don't understand what white privilege means. They don't understand the dynamics around it. You're exactly the most privileged and the most mediocre in history. In history. White men worldwide, sure, but in particular in America. Think about the things that white men complain about. Healthcare, food stamps, welfare expansion, Medicare, Medicaid, clean water, federal minimum wage being increased. Think about the things that they complain about, things that they get the most angry about. It is comical. Let me do some thank yous here. Okay. It's unreal. Thank you, Savage. Great live today. Thank you for $2, Savage. Great live today. Thank you for all you do. I appreciate you. Julianne, for 486. I appreciate you, Julianne, for your. You said I appreciate you. Appreciate me. I appreciate you for saying that. Leah, your $2. The $2 train. Choo choo. Leah's putting a challenge down for the $2 train for everybody. Thank you guys. Appreciate you very, very much. Let me adjust this. Yeah, there's 1,000 people in here. Everybody, 200 people. We can bang this right out because I hate talking about it, but it's necessary because I'll get yelled at if I don't. I'm going to just round it down. But it's the truth, right? Why? What's the point? Like, I have said this before, and I don't mean to joke about it, but I'm radical because I believe that every human being on earth should have access to healthcare, food, water, and shelter. That's fucking radical? Okay, I'll live with that. I'll go to my grave a happy person because I know full well that the things that I care about should matter to most people. And yet we have aggrieved white men in America that are looking for somebody to blame, looking for marginalized communities. Cage is right. Forgot about that, right? Don't forget, within hours of Charlie Kirk being unalived by likely someone who despised him, but not because that someone was a radical leftist, but because they were completely deranged. Completely deranged. Far right of MAGA. And yet, what happened? HBCUs were under lockdown and threat. Why? Because the Utah governor, Spencer Cox, decided that, shit, I really wanted to blame this on black people. I really wanted to blame this on the queer community. I really wanted to blame this on immigrants. But I can't. Because we're all mashed potato colored here, and likely one of our own. School unalivings, crimes against women, crimes against the queer community, per capita, by and large, committed by white men. It's just not, there's no denying it. But the right, because they've been conditioned to think that it can't be them because of their privilege, because they're at the top of the mountain, they, just like Donald Trump has said, when you're a star, you can get away with shit. When you're a star, you can just grab women by the pussy. No big deal. They let you do it. Well, the president says that I can just grab women by the pussy. Must be okay. Guess they'll let me do it. And the left are radicals? The left are the ones that are violent? Bunch of white dudes, aggrieved white dudes, mediocre white dudes ransacked the Capitol, spread shit on the walls, brought the Confederate flag through. I don't remember that being a black people uprising. I don't remember that being a queer rally. It was aggrieved white men because you've been told that you're victims. You've been told that you're under threat. And they're still telling you to this day, your government that you think are the champions of the America First movement thinks you're a joke. They are using you. They literally are using you. Because what they don't want to tell you, the reason that Lauren Boebert is now introducing legislation to try to basically erase the history of January 6th is because they don't want you to know the truth. They don't want you to know the fact that it's a bunch of white dudes led by far-right extreme groups like the Proud Boys, like the Oath Keepers, like the Three Percenters, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Those aren't radical leftist organizations. Nope. Definitely not. Instead, you've been conditioned to talk about Lake and Riley. You've been conditioned to talk about the Ukrainian woman. When the fuck did you care about Ukraine? And when the fuck did you care about women? Seriously. When the fuck did you care about any of those things? You don't give a shit. You just want to use it to fuel your hate. You just want to use it to fuel your hatred of marginalized communities. What the fuck have they done to you? I know. You're triggered by the fact that black women in America now are the most educated demographic that we have. They are outworking you. They're in positions of leadership. Not enough, in my opinion. You're going to be sitting across the desk someday from a black woman who's a hiring manager, and that doesn't make you feel good at all, does it? People just want to live their lives, which is why we sit here and say every single day, people on the ideological left care more about your children's future than you do. Conservative white men, we care more about your future than you do. We care more about your safety than you do. We care more about your opportunity to access the American dream, if that still exists, than you do. We care more about access to education than you do. Clean water, clean air, the government not fucking us, getting money out of politics. We care more about that shit than you do. So how about this? Just sit out the next election. Don't even bother. Don't even bother showing up. Don't even bother. Just rally in your little hood meetings and bitch and moan about everything, and we'll drive. In fact, we're going to let black women drive. Get the fuck out of the way. Just get out of the way. We'll fix it. We'll fix this shit because that's what liberals tend to do anyway throughout history. Conservatives fuck shit up, liberals come in and fix it. Conservatives then take credit for it, then fuck shit up again, then liberals come back in and fix it. And then the cycle happens all over again. All over again. We're going to start the nihilistic progressivist movement. We're going to burn the fucking shit down and then build the way up that it's supposed to be and get white men out of fucking power. Out of fucking power. You had your chance, you had 240 years, and you fucked it up at every turn. Every single time. Every single time our society has moved forward, it's been because of progressives. Every time. Every time. And yet, you think the conservative way is the right way? Nihilistic progressivism. Burn the fucking shit down and then build it up the right way. Overfund education. Get money out of fucking politics. Throw people in fucking jail who deserve to be in jail. Expand civil rights. Sign the fucking Voting Rights Act and codify it into law. Give women rights to their fucking body. Get the fuck out of the way. You're just taking up space. Get out of the way. You just bitch and moan about everything anyway. You're never fucking happy. You won the election. You got the presidency. You got the Senate. You got the court. You got the House. And you're still not fucking happy. But you know what? It's black women's fault. Or it's the queer community's fault. Or it's radical leftists' fault. Fucking miss me with your bullshit. I don't know. There's such a golden opportunity here, right? There is such a golden opportunity. I'm tired of conservatives being the anchor on progress because it's always been conservatives. Always. It's always been conservatives. And you can tell that they're under pressure because they're getting louder and they're getting, I think what conservative men think, if they talk louder, it'll make them sound smart. Well, we already know that they're dumb. And, well, Mr. Trump told them himself.
Smart people don't like me.
Yeah, exactly. Smart people don't like you. So you're just going to yell louder? Just get the fuck out of the way. We don't need you. Just get out of the way. We don't get, you know what? You're right. The country's so fucked up. You're absolutely right. Tell you what, just, sit this one out. It's okay. Go put your footy pajamas on, watch your reruns of the Dukes of Hazzard, and we got it covered. We'll fix it for you. And then you can come back and then you can take credit for it. You can take credit for it. No problem at all. We don't care. We know you're so weak and mediocre that you need to pat yourself on the back. So go for it. No problem at all. No problem at all. Happy to do it. Happy to do it. I'm going to let black women drive. Let them drive. Let's talk about a story that is recent. Everybody, thank you for tapping. Please consider just keeping us on the FYP. Don't forget about our gifting goal. And if you haven't joined our team yet, please do so. Let me see who's in the box.
Part of the culture.
Hi, Jojo. How are you? Jojo, are you there? Jojo? Jojo, are you there? Jojo?
Some start with the outside children, some gain the outside.
I guess not. It's time. It's time. Got to change shit. Good morning, James. How are you today? James, are you there? James Platt, are you there? James, are you there? Guess not. Okay. There's a story, again, this is wild because this once again proves the hypocrisy from the right, and in particular, the Trump administration. There's a lawsuit that's been filed. I'm not sure if you've heard about this, but the FBI brass claims that they were fired for not being Trumpy enough. 3 former FBI officials allege that they were fired from their positions over insufficient loyalty to Donald Trump in a new lawsuit filed last week. Former FBI acting director Brian Driscoll, Washington field office head Stephen Jensen, and Las Vegas field office head Spencer Evans claim they were subject to loyalty tests and pressure to fire FBI agents who worked on investigations into the president. The lawsuit names current FBI Director Kash Patel, AG Pam Bondi, the FBI, the U.S. Department of Justice, the Office of the President, and the United States of America as defendants. Driscoll alleges that before becoming the FBI's acting director in the first month of the Trump administration, attorney Paul Ingrassia, then Trump's liaison to the Department of Justice, asked him questions including, who did you vote for? We have the lawsuit, okay? Let me pull it up here. So we actually have the lawsuit. So in the lawsuit, they included the questions that were being asked of potential agents. Question 1, how would you define the most significant threats to the United States? Fair question. This is Mr. Driscoll's response. Cyber, terrorist, counterintelligence threats posed by China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, ISIS Khorasan, and their affiliates with external operational capabilities, porous borders, F-drug, and transnational organized crime, for example. Okay, cool. Question 2, what are your thoughts on the structure of the FBI? Answer, in order to constantly improve, any organization needs to evolve, and the FBI is no exception. Effective evolution with an improved and/or enhanced end state must be done with a measured and strategic approach. The FBI can be more efficient, more nimble, and field-focused with a deep understanding of the nuanced complexities of each area of responsibility for each field office. I think those are reasonable questions to ask somebody who's going to be part of the FBI. Question 3, who'd you vote for? Driscoll refused to answer the question and stated that it was an inappropriate question with Hatch Act implications. Question 4, do you agree that the FBI agents who, quote, stormed Mar-a-Lago to include the rank and file should be held accountable? Response 4, no. FBI personnel were doing their job in furtherance of court orders, legal warrants, and a property-predicated investigation. Question 5, what are your thoughts on DEI? Driscoll mentioned that members of his family were first-generation citizens and that he strongly believes in diversity and a diverse workforce that represents the people who the FBI serves. He noted that he does not believe in promoting people for the sole reason of diversity and did not support diluting standards for the sake of diversity alone. Question 6, when did you start supporting President Trump? Driscoll refused to answer this question. Question 7, have you voted for a Democrat in the last 5 elections? Driscoll refused to answer this question. Once again, rhetoric that we heard for years from MAGA Republicans during the Trump administration was the weaponization of the Justice Department. What the fuck was that? Who did you vote for? Do you agree the FBI agents who stormed the Capitol, that's the question, who stormed Mar-a-Lago should be held accountable? And when did you support President Trump? And have you voted for a Democrat? Interesting, right? You see, like we've said this before, when your entire political identity is based on lies, rhetoric, hypocrisy, and hate, you've got nothing left when you're exposed. Kash Patel is a DEI hire. Let's be real. Under no administration that has any kind of fucking common sense would he have ever gotten that job. Ever. He is completely unqualified for that position, as is Pam Bondi, as is Pete Hegseth. No way in hell would he have ever gotten that job. And these are the questions that you're asking decorated Pete. This guy is, I forget. I saw this someplace. The story continues. Driscoll alleges that during his 1 month as acting director, Driscoll, a 2-decade veteran of the FBI, was pressured by then acting deputy director Emil Bove to reveal the investigators behind the J6 2021 Capitol riot probe, trying to erase history. He refused and was accused by Bove of insubordination. Driscoll was moved to another role after Patel was confirmed in Feb. He alleges that Kash Patel fired him in August because he refused to fire an agent who was involved in the 2022 raid of Mar-a-Lago. The lawsuit reads, quote, Patel then stated that his own job depended on the removal of the agents who worked for the cases against the president, regardless whether the agents chose to work on those cases or not. Jensen claims he was also fired for refusing to fire an FBI agent who was the target of right-wing critics online. Evans claims he was fired for being too stingy in granting FBI agents C-19 exemptions during the pandemic. Patel not only acted unlawfully, but deliberately chose to prioritize politicizing the FBI over protect the American people, alleged the trio. The defendants are asking a judge to reinstate them to the FBI and then declare their dismissals in violation of federal civil service protections. The FBI, of course, has declined to comment. Loyalty tests for members of the FBI. Not the deep state, though. No. Weaponization of the government. No. Only just loyalty tests required unless you're certainly loyal. You see what I mean when we say we have them? We have them. They are exposed. They are exposed. Which then leads us to the latest news on the Epstein case. The Senate, a recent amendment to a defense authorization bill introduced by Senate Democrats, led by Chuck Schumer, which would require a public release of federal case files related to Epstein-Schmick's trafficking investigation, was narrowly defeated 51-49 in the Senate, which means you got some Republicans to vote for it. Meanwhile, the Treasury Department has agreed to provide financial records involving Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell to Congress following oversight committee requests. So think about that. It was the defense authorization bill that goes through every single year. Democrats just said, okay, we're going to vote on this anyway, so let's put this in there. And Senate Republicans said no. Nope. We're going to protect a predator. Thomas Massie, I think you guys know who Thomas Massie is. He is kind of front and center on he's sort of one of the leaders. He's the Republican co-sponsor of the discharge petition. I think we've talked about that before, right? The discharge petition, the one if you get 218 signatures, of which, by the way, there's 217 signatures currently. It would only take one, I'm not even going to say courageous, just one Republican to sign it. Don't forget, there's a special election, three special elections coming up soon. Two of them are in districts that have been strongly held by Democrats, which means they're going to get the votes anyway. And you're going to see that discharge petition signed, and the vote is going to be forced on the floor. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. So I guess the Republicans are just going to say, we're not going to touch that because it's going to happen anyway. 435 signatures should be on that thing. 435. Every single Democrat has signed it. 4 Republicans. Thomas Massie, who again is the Republican co-sponsor of this bill along with Ro Khanna, basically summarized everything that we've talked about here in this little clip. He's being interviewed.
Is it that Republicans fear Trump so much, but they agree with you privately? How they just talk about that for a minute?
Yeah.
Is that it?
That's it. That's it in a nutshell. I don't think my colleagues are happy about covering up for pedophiles, but that's what's happening. And it's so sick and twisted. The reason they're doing it is because they're terrified of President Trump's political machine. Not just his legislative affairs folks are reaching out from the White House to every Republican member of Congress who might think about co-sponsoring this. They're getting calls from the political machine that Donald Trump runs. We've got members of Congress who have aspirations of running for statewide office, and they can't win a statewide office in a Republican primary with Donald Trump on the other side. So they're terrified of him. With 3 big exceptions, 3 women have co-sponsored this resolution: Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, and Nancy.
Why aren't they terrified of President
I
Trump?
think, number one, because they're women, they feel obligated to take up for the women who've been abused.
Is it that Republicans fear Trump so much, but they agree with you privately?
That's a pretty telling statement, don't you think? Right? It's pretty telling. Fear, this is the quote, "I don't think my colleagues are happy about covering up for P3DOs, but that's what's happening. It is so sick and twisted. The reason they're doing it is because they're terrified of Trump's political machine." Imagine that, right? You're an elected official. You're there to serve your constituencies, because that's what it's about at the end of the day. As a representative, you represent a congressional district. As a senator, you represent the state. You guys know how it works. The overwhelming majority of Americans, including large chunks of MAGA, want this information to be released. But Republicans are so afraid of not getting any more AIPAC money or money from the gun lobby, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So afraid of losing their power that they're going to just ignore this. They're going to ignore crimes against kids. Crimes against kids. They're going to ignore all of it because they're so afraid of the Trump political machine. But that's not deep state shit, right? That's not, there's no corruption in government there, right? Funny.
Staff when
this is an example of the president in regards to the hypocrisy that it's the right or that it's the left that commits violence and it's the left that's not willing to call out their own. This is the president speaking on Melissa Horton and her husband.
In retrospect, given all of the moving ways that this White House has paid tribute to Charlie Kirk, right, do you think it would have been fitting to lower the flags to have staff when Melissa Horton, the Minnesota House Speaker, was gunned down by an assassin as well?
I'm not familiar.
The Minnesota House Speaker, a Democrat, was assassinated this summer.
Well, if the governor had asked me to do that, I would have done that. But the governor of Minnesota didn't ask me. I didn't. I wouldn't have thought of that, but I would have if somebody had asked me. People make requests for the lowering of flag, and oftentimes you have to say no because it would be a lot of lowering. The flag would never be up. Had the governor of Minnesota asked me to do that, I would have done that gladly.
And given the killing of Melissa Horton, the attack on Paul Pelosi, the attack on Gabby Giffords, the attack on the Pennsylvania governor's mansion, why make the case that violence is only on one side? It seems to be taking.
I didn't say it's on one side, but I say the radical left causes tremendous violence, and they seem to do it in a bigger way. But the radical left really is caused a lot of problems for this country. I really think they hate our country. Okay, yeah, please.
That's nice, right? I didn't know who she was. I didn't know who she was. I mean, the governor asked. Don't forget, he dissed on the governor. Agreed. That's some responsible journalism there. And then she gives the names of, don't forget, his own son made a Halloween costume after Paul Pelosi was beaten in the head by a right-winger, a radicalized right-winger who broke into the home, who was looking for Nancy, who wanted to kidnap her. And his own son made a Halloween mask or a Halloween costume that involved underwear and a hammer and posted it on his X account and on Truth Social. Josh Shapiro's home arson, unaliving of Melissa Horton and her husband and her dog, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Gabby Giffords, the overwhelming majority of right-wing violence. He's right. He's right about one thing. If every time there was an example of right-wing violence against someone in our community and we had to lower the flags at half staff, they'd always be flown at half staff. If we acknowledged every single death of a kid by an aggrieved white man in a school, then we would never have flags above half staff. Don't want to acknowledge that, though, do you? No, of course not. It's the president of the United States attempting to fire up his already manipulated, indoctrinated, and Kool-Aid drinking base. More aggrieved white men, more fucking victims. Pitiful. Pitiful. Absolutely fucking pitiful. You don't know who Melissa Horton is? Whose fault is that? He's exactly right, Kim. He's fanning the flames. And then we have Kash Patel. And then we have Kash Patel doing his shit. And then just I want to play this. It's related because don't forget some of the things that he ran on, that he got elected on, was this big strong man. Don't forget what he said about, if I was president, Russia never would have invaded. Okay, so let's talk about that, because we have some, of course, reporting on some we'll call it erratic Russian behavior Last time I checked, Donald Trump is the current president. So let's see how he's going to respond to this.
I'm sorry, what you just said is really stunning. You should be scared, is what you're saying.
Remember, Donald Trump said Putin would never have gone into Ukraine if he was.
This is Senator Chris Murphy, by the way.
President. Well, Donald Trump's president, and now we've got Putin going into Poland.
I'm sorry, Mark Warner.
This is the same Donald Trump that rolled out the red carpet for Putin a few weeks ago. So you have Putin on one hand doing this with Poland, which brings us much closer to the kind of international conflict that we've all been concerned about. You've got Bibi Netanyahu thumbing his nose at Trump and showing unequivocally that he doesn't give a damn about the hostages. He has no interest in getting a ceasefire and is going to do whatever he wants to, whoever he wants. As your correspondent pointed out, we asked Qatar to allow Hamas to have an office there a decade ago so we could do back channel and have negotiations. Our allies are enormously concerned because they are worried about the undermining of our intelligence community's independence almost on a daily basis. If this doesn't scare the hell out of you, then you're not appreciating how close we are to literally chaos across the world. And frankly, Donald Trump may be standing alone because he's burned so many of our allies in 8 short months.
Yeah. So MAGA, would you care to address that? Probably not, right? So the United States coordinates this negotiation in Qatar at a hotel. The IDF takes out the negotiators, takes out the leadership of H. That's on your watch, MAGA. We've got Russia flying drones into Poland, which is a NATO country, and Romania, which is also a NATO country. Where's your response? So, because if Joe Biden was president, Russia would not have done that. If Joe Biden was president, Russia would not have sent drones into Russia and Poland. If Joe Biden was president, the H group would not have, the IDF would not have attacked that hotel in Qatar. If Joe Biden was president, that wouldn't have happened. You want to contradict it? That's your bullshit argument that you use all the time, right? You roll out the fucking red carpet for a war criminal. You literally have the United States military on their knees under orders from their commanders to roll out the fucking red carpet for a fucking war criminal. A person who, if he was in other countries, aside from the United States, because the United States does not recognize the International Criminal Court, the ICC, neither does North Korea, by the way. If he went to Canada or to Europe, he would have been arrested for his war crimes. Separating children, removing children from Ukraine and moving them to Russia, violating just about every fucking international law there is. And Bibi's a war criminal too. Abso-fucking-lutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. And you roll out the red carpet for him, you stroke his hand, do a little rub and tug behind the closed doors, right? And then what, days later, after this big threat, big show of force by flying a B-2 bomber overhead, this big fucking show of force, one of the largest attacks yet on Kyiv from Russia, that worked. Days later, after going to Kim Jong-un the first time and saying, well, we've totally got them to chill out on their missile testing. Within days after that visit, what are they doing again? Testing more missiles. I demand there's going to be a settlement. I've ended these wars. You didn't fucking end shit. What have you ended? What have you ended? You haven't ended shit. You're the one that sent armaments and sent missiles and boom booms into Iran. And we still have reporting that Iran is picking up where they left off, rebuilding their nuclear program. Nobel Peace Prize? Really? Nobel Peace Prize? All these fucking lies that you believed. So what's your argument going to be? So when I get over the weekend, sometimes if I go in and I'm going to dunk on your fucking asses, so be prepared. Because I'm going to say, if Joe Biden was president, Russia never would have sent drones into Poland or to Romania. And what's your response going to be? You better start making notes, because Donald Trump, first of all,
smart people don't like me.
Remember that. He thinks you're dumb, so you're not going to be able to respond now, are you? Because when Joe Biden was president, there's no way Russia would have ever sent drones to Poland or Romania, right? No way. No way that would have happened. No way. No way. If Joe Biden was president, there's no way that Israel would have launched missiles to a U.S. organized summit to try to end that war. No way that would have happened. No way. If Joe Biden was president, that wouldn't have happened. If Joe Biden was president, then there's this. This one's wild. This one's wild. If Joe Biden was president, we wouldn't be going after drug boats. We using the U.S. military and attempting to try to justify it by, again, committing more war crimes. But our president, because he's such a stable genius, had this to say.
Just one more on Venezuela. The president of Venezuela called the strike on the boat illegal. Are you concerned that Maduro might escalate something?
No, what's illegal are the drugs that were on the boat and the drugs that are being sent into our country, and the fact that 300 million people died last year from drugs. That's what
he said that in Fox News. You heard that. 300 million people in our country died last year because of drugs. And you know what MAGA's going to say? You know what MAGA's going to say? He was talking total. Total what? Yeah, you heard it. Here you go.
And the drugs that are being sent into our country, and the fact that 300 million people died last year from drugs. That's
there's only 340 million people in our country. So is this like the purge? It's just like when he said, we're lowering your drug prices 1,500%. You can't do that. This is your guy. This is the person that is spewing hateful rhetoric, targeting marginalized communities, using the threat of the United States. Notice how he backed off the fucking taco bullshit with Chicago, claiming it's going to be next. Yeah, and then there's this one. I'm glad you mentioned that. Hold on.
Samsung.
Same guy. Smart people don't like me. I wonder why. 300 million people. What's your argument going to be, MAGA? You going to say it's AI? Just listen to the quote again, so we make sure that we are clear exactly what he said.
Might escalate something. No, what's illegal are the drugs that were on the boat and the drugs that are being sent into our country.
Okay, the drugs being sent into our country. That's our country. That's the first part.
And the fact that 300 million people died last year from drugs.
Okay, the drugs are being sent into our country. 300 million people died last year. So that claims then 300 million people died in our country last year from drugs. 300 million people. They'll say he's joking. Just kidding. All because you guys hate brown and black people so much. All because you despise the queer community. All because you hate immigrants. All because you hate education. All because you hate colleges and universities. All because you hate people that are smarter than you. All because you don't care about clean air, clean water. No, I'm not going to go that far. It's because you hate people. It's because you hate people. You hate brown and black people so much, and women so much, and the S word, socialism, so much, that that's the guy you have in power. That is literally raw dogging you at every turn. Seriously. And you're enjoying it. I'm not going to kink shame. Do what you got to do, boo. Just acknowledge it. You're taking one because you hate people so much. Now, an objective observer would be able to sit back and say, you voted for this fucking clown? You voted for him? That's the guy you voted for that thinks you can lower drug prices by 1,500%. I was in a debate with someone one time, and they literally said, I said to them, so what do you think about the president lowering drug prices 1,500%? He's like, I think it's great, don't you? I'm like, well, first of all, it's impossible. It's not impossible. Prices can go up 1,500%. I'm like, yeah, they can, but they can't go down 1,500%. They just can't. And he's like, oh, that ain't true. I said, let's do the math. And then he left. You have nowhere to go other than you have nobody but yourself to blame. Because if Joe Biden was president, Russia would not have sent drones into Romania or Poland. If Joe Biden was president, a U.S. organized summit to solve the war, led by another war criminal, Bibi Netanyahu, there would not have been missiles sent in to take out that hotel in a residential community. If Joe Biden was president, none of that would have happened. If Joe Biden was president, inflation wouldn't be going up because we would have continued the same economic policies that were putting us in damn good shape because Mr. Trump inherited a really good economy when he left. Envy of the world, as a matter of fact. If Joe Biden was still president, we wouldn't have lost 80,000 manufacturing jobs this year. If Joe Biden was president, we wouldn't see inflation spiking as a direct result of tariffs. If Joe Biden was president, we wouldn't be losing jobs. Literally, the first time since the last time Trump was president, we lost jobs in the month of June. If Joe Biden was president, a person like Charlie Kirk would not be considered a fucking martyr. Or if Joe Biden was president, Kia, that was about to invest billions of dollars in the state of Georgia, would not have said, okay, Trump's going to do this bullshit. Fuck it, we're done. If Joe Biden was president, farmers, again, wouldn't be put out of business. The same farmers that voted for Trump. If Joe Biden was president, we wouldn't have to worry about kids losing access to food because of cuts to benefit billionaires. If Joe Biden was president, we would have gotten Medicaid expansion and more people would have gotten insurance. If Joe Biden was president, we wouldn't be battling against a recession that's coming because of Trump era policies. You could insert Kamala's name there, but I just want to use the whole Biden argument. You guys know where I'm going with that. But what about Biden? So, you've got no answer. You have no answer. You're going to try to blame everything on somebody else. Kamala was running, Frank. We know. I'm using Trump's own words against him. If I was president, Russia would have never invaded. If Joe Biden was president, Putin never would have launched drones into Ukraine, into Romania, into Poland. You guys don't have an answer to it. You don't. You just don't have an answer to that. Instead, what you'll do is blame brown and black people, because that's what you always do. Charlie Kirk, assassinated by a far right wing. The evidence points to him being far on the right wing. No doubt about it. Not some radicalized leftist. Because every single time they try to introduce a narrative, they dunk on themselves because they're fucking stupid. Every time. Every single time. Every time. So you're going to find somebody to blame. Charlie Kirk gets assassinated and historical black colleges and universities have to go into lockdown. Why? Why? We don't even know if he had a trans roommate. We're talking femboys, this whole argument. We don't even know that. Exactly. If Joe Biden was president, he wouldn't have rolled out the red carpet for Putin. Well, you don't understand, MAGA. What you don't understand is the heaviest sanctions ever issued against Russia came during the Biden administration. They said, there's no negotiation until you withdraw. We'll just keep cranking up the sanctions. What did Trump do when he got into office? What did he do? Ooh, he pulled some of them back. I wonder why he would do that. Meanwhile, the rest of the world is uniting against the West because they're so fucking done with Trump. President Modi from India, Xi from China, Putin, creating their own little axis. Big economies. Russia needs both China and India to buy their oil. It's going to reset the market. No money spent from $0. I think it's zero. I don't think the Chinese government has bought any U.S. soybeans in months, which are driving more farmers into bankruptcy. And then we have Howard Nuttall saying, yeah, it's going to take a couple of years before the economy really booms. And they're all making fucking money. Billions of dollars going into the pocket of all their billionaires. Everything. All of it. And you guys voted for that. You voted for that because you hate brown, black, queer, and women so much. Brown people, black people, women, and the queer community. You hate them so much. So much. Why? The male loneliness epidemic? You fuckers are lonely because you're dicks, because you're fucking predators. That's why you're lonely. It's self-inflicted. The reason you're lonely is because you're a threat. I love the analogy talked about somebody. There's 100 M&Ms, red M&Ms in a bowl, and one of them is poison. Would you eat one of those? Would you eat any of the M&Ms in that bowl? The answer is no. You're lonely because in women's mind, you're that M&M. You don't care. You don't care. Gringo, you're one of those people that are part of the problem because you hate brown and black people so much. You hate women so much. You hate queer people so much. And you know what the queer people say and the women say and the brown and black people say? Just let us live our fucking lives. We don't give a shit. Stay out of our way. Just let us live our lives. You have given them every single reason to be hateful towards you, to use violence against you. And you know what? By and large, they don't. You won the election. You got the presidency. You have the courts. You have the House. You have the Senate. And you're still not happy. Instead, you'll jump into your little echo chambers and you'll spew lies. You'll smell each other's farts and you'll celebrate it. And you guys think you're fucking winning. I'll say it again. People on the ideological left care more about your future than you do. We certainly care more about your children's future than you do. What do you care about? I agree, Kipper. What do you care about? What do you care about? You're still going to complain. No matter what. No matter what, you'll still complain. Sweet Pea, how are you today?
Oh, sorry. That was an accident.
No problem. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. How we fix it is we become the resistance. We focus on programs like our friend Jess talked about this morning. You could hear the passion in her voice about it, right? And she's an oncologist. She's out there saving fucking people's lives in her real life. That's what she does. That's why I have a deep connection to her, because of what she does for the cancer community. Trying to heal people. Because cancer doesn't discriminate. Cancer doesn't give a fuck who you vote for. And what do we do in our government? We cut funding. We cut research grants for colleges and universities where cures are developed. Treatment plans are developed. But we don't think that that's necessary because we want the rich to get richer. We want the billionaires to become oligarchs and lead our government. And because MAGA hates brown and black people, white women, and queer people. Overwhelming impact of the big piece of crap legislation that got signed into law is going to affect, guess who? People who voted for it. Largest recipients of Medicaid, Medicare benefits in our country, SNAP benefits, guess who they are? It's white people. Probably didn't know that, did you? Largest perpetrators of violent crime, white people. The big beautiful bill, cut funding. MAGA Republicans defund the police. MAGA Republicans are pro-crime. MAGA Republicans are pro-criminal. MAGA Republicans hate children. MAGA Republicans hate women. MAGA Republicans hate the queer community. MAGA Republicans hate brown and black people. There's your campaign ads. It's true. Again, the immortal words of Joe Biden. Don't tell me what your values are. Show me your budget. There is a government funding fight that's about to take off. And there is some, well, you know how I feel about status quo Democrats. You know how I feel about Chuck Schumer. Let me play you the sound first. It's another example of Mr. Trump trying to say that we wouldn't be celebrating violence against Democrats.
Asked to start revoking the visas of the foreigners who have celebrated Charlie Kirk's death.
No, we haven't, but we are looking at names. We don't like that. That's not right. We wouldn't celebrate if something happened on their side, and we don't. These are sick people.
Stand up to crazy Nancy Pelosi who ruined San Francisco. How's her husband doing, by the way? Anybody know? And she's against building a wall at our border, even though she has a wall around her house, which obviously didn't do a very good job.
Have you asked to start revoking the visas of the foreigners who have celebrated Charlie Kirk's death?
No, we haven't, but we are looking at names. We don't like that. That's not right. We wouldn't celebrate if something happened on their side, and we don't. These are sick people.
Stand up to crazy Nancy Pelosi who ruined San Francisco. How's her husband doing, by the way? Anybody know? And she's against building a wall at our border, even though she has a wall around her house, which obviously didn't do a very good job.
Yeah, but nothing to see there, right? Nothing to see there. The problem is, the biggest problem is this.
Smart people don't like me.
Which again is why I tell you every single day that I would overinvest in public education. Give me the checkbook. I would spend as much on public education as we spend in the defense. And I wouldn't even think twice about it. So much of our issues in our country could be solved by it if we just address it once and for all. Why? Why are MAGA Republicans in particular so afraid to face the truth? Instead, they're just going to swim in their fucking canals of shit. The primordial ooze. Just so they can hate marginalized communities and justify it. We've got communities popping up across the country that are white only. We've got look at just the news recently. You see these far right militant groups waving swastikas, marching down streets with their faces covered like the fucking cowards that they are. Is that coming from the left? No, what the left does is goes to rallies, protests, waves flags, helps people. And yet it's the left. It's the radicalized groups on the left. I swear the ones that I know sat in the back of the classroom and ate glue. You're right, Veda. You cannot make a comparison. I know that there's some trolls in the chat who come in here who complain about me, are the same ones that likely are sending me unaliving threats, but I'm glad you're here. Kiss, kiss. Tell me the leader of Antifa. Go ahead, I'll wait. Oh, there is none. There is none. It's me. That's right, it's me, Sam. I love you. Who is it? Alligator. They were literally, thank you, Jess. They were literally buying fucking Alligator Alcatraz merch until it got shut down for being just a horrible, horrible, horrible thing. Who's the leader? You guys just sit out there and just want to blame everybody for everything other than the people who are truly to blame, and it's yourself. And Spencer Cox said it best. Said it best. I prayed. First of all, I think I've heard RTP talk about this. LDS, the Mormon Church, is a radical fundamentalist group built on violence. They are. And most Mormons, especially those who've excommunicated, would agree. So he was like, I'm desperately praying. I am desperately praying that it was a black person, especially a black man or a trans woman or a trans man or a queer person or somebody from outside the country, because then it would be easy to blame such a horrible act on them. But instead, it's one of ours. Did I get that right, Richard? Exmo here, and I'm correct. So here you are, living in your shit again. You guys probably don't even wipe yourselves. When was the last time you washed your back or your legs? It's just like, lower the blood pressure a little bit. I don't know where this goes. I really don't. I don't. See if I have something else I want to play for you guys. Yeah, so I'm going to play a little bit of sound from J.D. Vance, since he was the one that's now hosting the Charlie Kirk show, which I think is just despicable in itself. And I want to use this opportunity also to remind people why it is so important to vote. If TikTok goes away and you never see me again, I hope that doesn't happen. Whatever that looks like, I want, when the election comes, I want to have facts, little facts sitting on your shoulder. Little facts. We were trying to come up with a name for our community. I'm not even sure where we landed, because Hector's got the Hectuas, which I fucking love, and the Danikins for Danny, which are the best. We don't know what it is, but in our community, whatever that is, you've got me sitting on your shoulder, and you were like, yeah, voting. Oh shit, facts is tugging on my ear. I better get my fucking ass to the polls. Factoids. I like that one. The factoids. Seriously. Because if you can't see what we're talking about, because leftists, entitled leftists, are partly responsible. And like I've said before, we as a nation deserved this. We deserved it. We deserved Donald Trump winning the election. The Silvercrats. I like that one too. Factonauts. The factors. We deserved it because we were apathetic. And we decided that somebody else will fix it. And we expected black women to show up again. And you heard Cage, and I saw Fairy Dust in here. Fucking done. Fucking done. You guys created this mess for 250 years. Finally fucking fix it. Silver Fox and the Cubs. I like that one. Factivists. That's a good one too. Okay. So then now we live in a world where, it's no big deal that J.D. Vance can just go and do a podcast representing his friend Charlie Kirk, who said black women do not have the processing power to be taken seriously. You have to go steal a white person's slot. He also said, we made a huge mistake when we passed the Civil Rights Act in the 1960s. He also said, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. He also said LGBTQ is a social contagion. He also said, we need armed militias to prevent the diminishing and decreasing of white demographics. He also said this, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That guy said all that shit, and our fucking vice president is now sitting in his chair representing that. And like I said, racists don't think what they say is racist. Bigots don't think what they say is bigoted. Transphobes don't think what they say is transphobic or homophobic or misogynistic. So when we have these conversations with people and say, what Charlie Kirk said is racist, what Donald Trump said is racist, that's not racist. It's the white fragility prayer, right? So this is his first guest, ironically enough, is Stephen Miller.
Welcome back to the Charlie Kirk Show. This is Vice President J.D. Vance. Joining me now is Stephen Miller, White House Deputy Chief of Staff, dear friend of mine, and dear friend of Charlie Kirk.
Dear friend of yours, J.D. Dear friend, the same guy that said Hold on.
And that safety and physical security matter less.
Hold on. Your dear friend, you heard his words.
Children will be taught to love America. Children will be taught to be patriots. Children will be taught civic values for schools that want federal taxpayer funding. So as we close the Department of Education and we provide funding to states, we are going to make sure that these funds are not being used to promote communist ideology. For any nation to be successful, it cannot teach its children to hate themselves and to hate their country. So these are a few of the areas in which President Trump has fought the cancerous communist woke culture that was destroying this country, where we were led to believe that men were women, that women were men, that racial discrimination was good, that merit was bad, and that safety and physical security matter less than the feelings of liberal ideologues.
Wow, that's wild. Again, don't forget, he was just referred to as J.D. Vance just referred to him as his best friend. One of my best friends, Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller, who also had this to say. Hang on one second, because this one's even worse. This is the really bad one. Do I still have that up? I mean, I don't even have it anymore. Yeah, this one. Again, the Vice President of the United States referred to this guy as his best friend.
The rhetoric that you played, the messages that you played in that clip are the same exact rhetoric and messages that are used by the assassins, that are used by the two assassins who tried to kill Donald Trump, that are used by the assassin who claimed the life of my friend, an American hero, Charlie Kirk. This is willful and deliberate radicalization. They know what they're doing. Our universities, in many cases, have become incubators for extremism. They become the equivalent of madrasas for jihadism. There is a domestic terrorism movement in this country. When you see these organized doxing campaigns where the left calls people enemies of the republic, calls them fascists, says they're Nazis, says they're evil, says they have to be removed, and then prints their addresses, what do you think they're trying to do? They are trying to inspire someone to murder them. That is their objective. That is their intent. And when you see online, Sean, as we've seen for the last few days, tape after tape after tape of federal workers, bureaucrats, staffers in the Pentagon, educators, professors, healthcare workers, nurses, celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk. These are radicalized people. There is a domestic terrorism movement in this country. And let me tell you something I've not shared with anybody, but the last message that Charlie Kirk gave to me before he joined his creator in heaven was he said that we have to dismantle and take on the radical left organizations in this country that are fomenting violence.
Wow. That guy, the Vice President of the United States, referred to as one of his best friends. Cool.
And before I get into the nitty-gritty of what I wanted to talk with Stephen about, you know, there's a lot of questions about the investigation, where we are in the investigation. I want to be respectful to the FBI's process, but just know that we are on top of this, and the entire administration is trying to do as much as possible to find everything that we can about what led to this, about how we got here, and of course, ultimately, how an assassin took Charlie's life. I wanted to zoom out with Stephen a little bit and talk about all of the ways that we're trying to figure out how to prevent this festering violence that you see on the far left from becoming even more and more.
The festering violence that exists on the far left? Why did we, I don't know, was there an extra coat of paint to make the pride flag maybe a little bit brighter? Or maybe we fed too many houseless people? Or standing in support of overfunding public education too loudly? Okay, good to know.
Mainstream. A lot of people are very worried about how we got here in the first place. And you have the crazies on the far left who are saying, oh, Stephen Miller and J.D. Vance, they're going to go after constitutionally protected speech. No, we're going to go after the NGO network that foments, facilitates, and engages in violence. That's not okay. Violence is not okay in our system, and we want to make it less likely that that happens. Walk me through, at a high level, like what you and I have been working on, what the whole administration has been working on to try to make sure that we don't reward and promote this craziness.
the organized doxing campaigns, the organized riots, the organized street.
The organizing doxing campaigns of which you were a part of, because you just literally said that the statement you're going to be going after left-leaning organizations, Stephen. The organized doxing campaigns that you literally just told people you were going to do. Okay.
Violence, the organized campaign of dehumanization, vilification, posting people's addresses, combining that with
the one that you just initiated. Cool. Good to know.
Messaging that's designed to trigger, incite violence, and the actual organized cells that carry out and facilitate the violence. It is a vast domestic terror movement. And with God as my witness, we are going to use every resource we have at the Department of Justice, Homeland Security, and throughout this government to identify, disrupt, dismantle, and destroy these networks and make America safe again for the American.
That guy right there is J.D. Vance's best friend. That guy right there claimed to be Charlie Kirk's best friend. That guy. That guy. That guy. That guy. Because, again, the MAGA movement, the Christian nationalist, white nationalist movement, of which the Groipers don't think is extreme enough, hate brown and black people so much. Women, the queer community, the disabled community, public education, higher education. Hate them so much that they'll do this. Appreciate you too, Smitty. Why not send resources into Mississippi to try to find out why multiple young black men were lynched? Why not do that? No. We're gonna create a network so that we can dox liberals, and then we're gonna say we're gonna go after networks that are doxing conservatives. Make it make sense. Make that fucking make sense. Use your resources. Instead, Cash, let's go back. I just want to play this again because it's just so wild to me. Let's talk about what Kash Patel is saying. This is nuts. This is the FBI director, okay?
And one more point on forensics. We were able to obtain in record time the text message chain between the suspect and his live-in partner, as well as
no confirmation at all. First of all, that his roommate was his partner. No confirmation. The only source of that claim was the FBI, promoted by the Wall Street Journal and the Guardian, and both of them have since retracted that information because there's no information. And even if they were partners, who the fuck cares? What are you implying, Cash?
other critical cellular information from our CAS team that analyzes cell phone data towers in the area to pinpoint the locations of the suspect and other individuals he was speaking with. This is critical information that the FBI processed and got to prosecutors so they can lawfully use it in a court of law. And our investigation, our interviews continue, but we've learned some shocking things when we spoke to his family and friends as well.
Like what did you learn exactly, Cash? Because from where we sit, Cash, is this what you learned? Because this is part 2. This is another interview that he did in another safe space on the Daily fucking Mail.
Wrote it out saying, I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk.
Hold on, let me start from the beginning here.
Suspect wrote it out saying, I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I'm going to take it. That note was written before the shooting. Evidence of his existence, we now have learned, existed before the shooting was...
Evidence of his existence we have now learned, okay.
In the location, in the suspect and partner's home. But we...
Again, no partner, no reference, no confirmation of that at all other than his own words.
We have since learned that the note, even though it has been destroyed, we have found forensic evidence of...
The note has been destroyed, but we have found forensics evidence of it.
The note, and we have confirmed what that note says.
So the evidence was destroyed. We found the destroyed evidence, and we can confirm what's on it.
Because of our aggressive interview posture at the FBI. The suspect...
What? And then back to this interview, just to kind of close it out.
You want to share them? Those shocking things?
Sure. And my job as FBI director is not to speak to motive, is to speak to the facts. And that's what I'm going to do. His family has collected...
I'm sorry. Okay, anyway.
Told investigators that he subscribed to left-wing ideology, and even more so in these last couple of years. And he had a text message exchange, he the suspect, with another individual, in which he claimed that he had an opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and he was going to do it because of his hatred for what Charlie stood for. Those are factually accurate investigatory findings by the FBI that we...
None of that is factual. None of it. None of it. It's on Fox News and the Daily Mail. None of that is factual. None of it. He's going to lie to you because he knows you will believe it, because you hate, in this case, the trans community so much. Although we learned yesterday that the highest demographic who searches for trans corn would be in Republican states. Funny how that works. Good morning, my friend. How are you today?
Not too bad, thanks, Steve. How are you?
Fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
Just calling up to do a little bit of a mod announcement, if you don't mind, chat. If you could tap away at the screen, I'm fairly certain if we all show us how we use those fingers, we can get up to 450k before Facts has to go today. Otherwise, TikTok's changing the way they do subscriptions, and it's going up quite a bit. It's quite a steep rise. For new people, it'll say $9.99. If you're already an existing member, you have 3 months before it increases to $9.99. But if you go to the tree, you'll find a link to factsstillmatter.site, S-I-T-E, and you can sub there for a reasonable amount that isn't going to be incredibly painful for in a few months' time when Christmas rolls around. So, yeah, go ahead and do that. Over there, you'll also find a wonderful array of T-shirts designed by a few different people, including myself. And, yeah, head over there for those and keep that tapping up. I can see you making an effort.
I appreciate that, friend. And don't forget, guys, we're crowdfunded here. If you want to use the various pay apps, I want to thank a couple people. I think I got Tracy, I got Kate, I got Savage Mom, I got Julianne. Thank you guys very, very much. Also, Carol, thank you very much. Also, hang on a second here. Thank you to Bridget. Thank you very much, Bridget. Really appreciate you. And also to Robin, thank you so very much. And also Carol, thank you guys for your kindness. I appreciate you guys very, very much. Appreciate you. Thank you for jumping in today. And is the new shirt in the merch store now? The new Women Don't Owe You Shit.
Oh,
we have a new one. We have a new shirt. Women Don't Owe You Shit. I think if I were you, I would go out and get 1 or 10. Thank you for jumping in today, friend. I appreciate it very much.
Oh no,
you ready for the slide? You ready for the slide?
Yep, ready. Whee!
All right. Let's see. Sorry, I'm doing math in my head. There you go. So if we just eliminate the political affiliation, right? If we just remove the R and the D, if we just remove the names of the individuals that are now making these decisions, are making those statements, there is not an objective person amongst us that would not call this pitiful. Kash Patel's missteps from the very beginning have now put him in this spot where he goes on TV. First of all, he's a lousy fucking liar. He's really bad at it. He can't even put that on his resume. Yeah, let's see. MAGA nut job, DEI hire at the FBI, can't lie. Well, you know what? You could probably get a job in Republican leadership. To what end? To what end? And then we've got Candace Owens making these really weird references to a whole bunch of shit about Israel and Bibi Netanyahu and the billionaires, and the truth's going to come out and all this kind of shit. popping off and the world's popping off. The big thing, that was a good slip, Cash Patel. Yeah, exactly. I'm not gonna say the good thing, but the byproduct of this bullshit is our fucking allies are like, we're done with you guys. You're on your own. Is that what you want, MAGA? Is that really what you want? Is that really what you want? You want to be isolated? You want the dollar to not be the global currency? Because we're heading down that road. All Trump had to do when he won the election is nothing. He could have gone and played golf every single day and tell his advisors, we're not going to change the economy. We're going to tell our base, we're going to lie to our base. We're going to tell them that we've got all these great economic plans. We're not going to do shit. We're going to allow things to continue, and then we're going to take credit for it. That's all you had to do. That's it. That's all you had to do. Would have been the easiest job. He could have played golf every single day. Could have gone out and done dumb shit. Could have talked about putting in a ballroom and whatever else. But nope. Couldn't do that. Yeah, exactly. Just trying to install a theocracy in an oligarch-run government. All he had to do was nothing. That's it. That's all he had to do the first time. Handed the keys to a booming economy from the Obama administration. And then he fucking trashed it with, guess what, his tariffs. Put more farmers out of bankruptcy. Do respect farmers. I appreciate the work you do. But did you not learn your lesson the first time? Did you not? Rural farmers in red states, did you not learn your lesson the first time? Do you hate brown and black people so much that you drank the Kool-Aid again? Did you hate the queer community so much and women so much that you drank the Kool-Aid again? You got bailed out the first time by similar policies. You literally had to put your hand out for government subsidies, socialism, the first time because of what Trump did to your industry. And you voted for it again, and then the same thing is happening again? Roughneck blue-collar workers who work in the domestic energy industry in our country, who lost your jobs the first time because small oil and gas companies went out of business because of Trump's deal with OPEC Plus. Guess what OPEC's doing right now? They're cranking up their production again, going to artificially drive the prices down again at the expense of domestic oil and gas producers. More will go out of business. Again, the full cycle. Your gas prices will drop because gas prices always go down in the summer, in the wintertime. And Trump will tell his voters, see what I did? Meanwhile, those people that voted for him will be like, the fuck? Wait a second. I lost my job. Do you hate brown and black people and women and the queer community so much that you're just going to allow this to happen again? Do you like being raw dogged by Republican policies? Again, I'm not kink shaming, but maybe try a new one. Maybe try voyeurism. I don't know. Maybe try dirty talk. Change it up a little bit. I don't know. Maybe you just need a new hobby. I don't know. It's the same fucking cycle all over again. It's literally the same cycle all over again. Have you not learned your lesson? I respect farmers. One of my many summer jobs that I had when I was a kid was working on a farm. It's backbreaking work, which is why I have so much respect for the immigrant community, because they bust their fucking ass feeding entitled white people. And they get just what? Marginalized, diminished every single day. Well, now they're afraid to show up to work because they're going to get rounded up by cowardice ICE agents, if they even are ICE agents, and then disappeared. Because don't forget, Tom Homan told us that 70% of ICE arrests are people with criminal records, and the other 30% are affiliated with gangs. So then what about everybody else? Prices are up on everything. On everything. Is that the queer community's fault? Must be. Women, it's your fault. Hate to tell you. Gas prices going up, inflation going up, the CPI up, the PPI up. That's your fault, women. Just want to let you know. You guys can blame yourselves. It's all you. It's your fault. Black people, it's your fault. Brown people, it's your fault. Queer community, it's your fault. Woke leftists, it's your fault. College students, it's your fault. But no. It's not the conservatives' fault. Because we've got God in our corner. God's on our side. It's not our fault. It's not our fault that 3 young black men in Mississippi were lynched. That's not our fault because we've got God on our side. It's not our fault that crime in rural areas outside of cities is highest amongst white people. That's not our fault because God is on our side. Can't be our fault. Can't be our fault that black women are smarter, more educated, more successful, but that's their fault. It can't be our fault because God is on our side. God is on our side because Vladimir Putin sent drones over Russia or Poland and Romania. But that's not our fault because God is on our side. It's wild, right? How that works. It's crazy. Hey, Chris.
What's going on, Steve? Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you think, it seems to me they're very upset that everything they've done has not caused like mass riots in the streets. It really, I mean, putting the God out in the streets hasn't gotten the reaction they wanted. You know, they're all going on about Charlie Kirk. Of course, now they're all upset that the call came in from the House and they can't accept that. So
exactly.
They're just going absolutely crazy about that because now they're trying.
Exactly.
Anyway, he got indoctrinated by doing one semester with a very online at a very conservative school. So, I mean, they're reaching for anything. And I don't know. I don't know the law enough, but I think Kash Patel's not doing the prosecutions any favors on this case by just coming out and saying all this stuff. You know?
Absolutely. He's tainting a potential jury pool. There's reporting, by the way, that a judge has removed the terrorism charge against Luigi. He's still being tried for unaliving, but they've removed the terrorism charge, which the FBI tried to use to try to get the death penalty. So there's that.
All right. But the thing I'm sick and tired of, they got to stop lionizing Charlie Kirk. Listen, the guy went around and he debated kids because he couldn't debate adults. He debated kids, and he didn't really debate because a debate, if your way of making your point is denigrating other people, you're not debating. You're just putting out your hateful ideological. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, ideology. Yep.
Yeah, you're just putting that out there. You're not debating. You're not doing. And this is why he did it with kids because. Especially with the young males, the incels and all these gamers, you know, why don't I have a girlfriend? Why is my life? Oh, because that black person over there or that trans person or that gay person over there, that's why my life's not as good as it should be. And this is really what he was preaching to them, you know? And I'm also a little tired of, because I, like you, we both grew up Catholic, but neither of us are religious now. But this whole alt-Christian thing, because I know Jesus did not preach, oh yeah, love everyone except if they're different from you, then you can hate them. Or this, you know, this is the whole alt-Christian. You're not to be a Christian, you actually have to follow the teachings of Jesus Christ. And I don't remember
you would think.
I don't remember anywhere. I don't remember any scripture.
I mean, it's literally in the name.
I mean, I don't remember anything that Jesus said, do unto others unless you don't like them, and then, you know, screw them. You know, I don't, you know, but they go to church, they say they're Christians. Oh, you know, if there is a God, Charlie's going to be really upset if he meets Jesus because Jesus ain't white, and that's really going to, you know, screw up his day. You know,
Jesus was a brown-skinned immigrant, socialist.
Yeah, so, you know, that's kind of really screw up Charlie's day. But it's just ridiculous. And now they're trying to build on this. Because, again, this is what I go back. I was saying before. They want something. So that's why they're building up this whole Charlie Kirk thing. Because they want a reaction. They want a violent reaction. Because they want a war. They really do.
They absolutely do. Marjorie Taylor Greene's calling for a national divorce. Sign me up. You know what? I have no problem with that. Good luck, MAGA, paying your fucking bills.
That's
Good
right.
luck.
You can have New Hampshire. We'll even give you New Hampshire.
I would be happy to sacrifice New Hampshire. Yes,
You know,
for the greater good, and I would
half
smile
of
about it.
Connecticut. Honestly, half of Connecticut can go too. And you know the reason for that. Wait a minute.
Kind of true. Yeah.
You know the reason. We're not gonna bore other people on that. But it's just it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I watch this, and the funny thing is, Charlie Kirk, they're going, he was all about free speech, but if you say anything bad about Charlie Kirk now, you're gonna get canceled.
Of course.
Which they're all cheering for that too. They're all anti-cancel culture. Well, unless you say something about Charlie Kirk, then it's okay to cancel you. It's ridiculous. I'm tired.
I'm tired too, buddy. Thanks for jumping in today. I appreciate your passion, brother. Have a good one. Be safe out there, kid. Later, buddy.
You too.
He's right though. I mean, he's right. I mean, this is, call it hypocrisy, call it irony, whatever the fuck you want to call it. The clamoring and the bitching and moaning from the right about cancel culture, that's their entire model, is to cancel people. That's their entire model. They're literally removing people's accounts. They're literally telling people that you got to pass a loyalty test, telling news and journalistic organizations that unless you report things that are favorable to the administration, we're going to cancel you. But because
smart people don't like me,
because dumb people love him, they can easily pull the wool over their eyes. It's kind of wild, right? How that works. I see it, Victoria. Isn't it funny how that works? We're here to call it out every day. Hey, Drew.
Hey, buddy. I'm not going to stay up very long, but I wanted to let you know of a bit of sound that you need to find, or maybe your mods can help you locate it. It's part of that JD Vance podcast nonsense, where he sat up there and with that microphone in front of him and made the claim that Charlie Kirk never said what he said about black women. There's a great video. I'll try to send it to you after work, after the show if I can. But I saw just this morning on TikTok where it overlays his claim with the actual soundbite. It's wild. That's something that, because you were talking about it earlier, and that's when I requested up, but it's something that you need to share with everybody.
I got it. We'll find it and we'll play it. Thank you, bro. I appreciate you.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good one.
You too. Be safe out there. Well, there you go. It's a perfect example. We can't let MAGA see this. Listen. We all know that Charlie's a racist, right? Everybody agree? Cool, because we're racist too, right? Everybody agree? Okay, so we can't allow them to see through the veneer. We have to keep telling them that we're not. And what's the easiest way to do that? I know. Steven? Yeah, I know. We'll just lie to them. Yeah, that works on everything else. Let's just lie. Let's just tell them. Let's literally tell them that the audio and the video that exists of Charlie Kirk telling black women, what's the quote? I'll make sure I get it right. I want to make sure I have it exactly right. That black women do not have the processing power to be taken seriously. You have to go steal a white person's slot. Holy fuck, you guys. That is wicked racist. Didn't he say something else really bad? Yeah, he said that we need to arm militias to prevent the diminishing and decreasing of white demographics. Wow, that is fucking horrible. Steven, would you agree? Yeah, that's really, really bad. Also, I can't stand the word empath. I think empathy is a made-up new age term, and it does a lot of damage. Shit, that's really fucking bad, too. Is there anything else? Did he say something about a pilot? Oh, yeah, he said, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. Man, that dude was really fucking racist. Okay, you know what we'll do? We'll just tell them that those things don't exist. And because they're fucking stupid, they'll believe it. And guys, what about the whole Groper shit? The Groipers, those guys are fucking extreme. They think we're weak. Are we weak? Yeah, we're pretty weak. So you know what we should do? Let's make as much money on the back of middle-class Americans because we lied to them and they'll believe it. Let's make as much money as we can and then run and then blame the destruction of the economy on Democrats. Everybody in? All in? Go! I just pulled the headphones out of my ears. Those are what the conversations are probably like. Seriously. Just taken out of context, I'm sure. Hello, Victoria. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. Speaking on this doxing situation, hopefully you saw my comments, but we digress. So when we were talking about this doxing situation, this is happening nationwide. I was on a statewide call last night with the Democratic Party here in Tennessee. And not only has our chair received unaliving threats to her and her family, our vice chair has been doxxed. because someone went to a meeting and no one recognized this person and then took all that information and doxed him. And this is a real life like scenario of what is happening. They're claiming the violence, they're claiming all these things that we do, and then turning around and taking our free speech and doxing us. And I would not put it past them at this point. Because, official out, petition that happened to me. I'm just kind of looking for impact at this point. Kind of terrifying knowing that this is going to be happening throughout the country to people who are trying to bring change and not advocating for violence. But here we are,
Yeah. I mean, there's so much to unpack with that statement alone. I mean, let's just call it what it is. There's no way that they are ever going to address the fact of the overwhelming majority of political violence. And I've been thinking about this. It seems like you could almost say that all violence is political, in a way, but we'll focus on just the specifics of political violence. There's no way they're ever going to acknowledge that it comes from them. There's no way that they're ever going to acknowledge that the overwhelming majority of targeted political violence comes from the right. They'll never accept that. They'll never accept it. Never accept it. So the only thing they have left to do is just lie and scapegoat and blame. That's it. Mm-hmm. And by the way, Victoria, as a woman, it's your fault the economy's in the shitter. I just want you to know.
I feel like you only say that because you're not in the vice right now.
Oh, we had to go there, didn't you? You had to go there.
Mm-hmm. They're saying. Just saying. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Appreciate you.
But like this is the situation that you have like in red states, and I've seen a couple comments going by and people are like, oh, well, smart people leave southern states. Well, that's not possible. My privilege allows me to leave. Like I could technically leave my state, take my children, move elsewhere. But that doesn't solve the problem for the people who can't move, who don't have the financial means to move. Because that's part of the cruelty in this whole situation is they're making it harder for people to leave these states because they want to make sure that we're suffering. They want to make sure that we're here. And we can't just dip out. Like if you have to leave for your safety, I get that. However, the flip side of that is people get harmed because there are people who are smart who can't leave.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
For whatever reason. So, I mean, this is, yeah.
Anything you want to plug?
Well, guys, if you haven't heard, the National Guard is coming to Tennessee, specifically to Memphis. There is a coordinated effort to stop this. But unfortunately, unlike Chicago, we are in a supermajority. So that means that our governor is asking for them to come and is happily going to set the National Guard on Memphis, Tennessee. So if you're in Tennessee or you're in the surrounding states, how about give them a call and tell them that you're not feeling this, because we shouldn't be putting the National Guard in Tennessee, especially from the other side of that. State laws are the ones who mandate like pew violence, all that stuff. Like they won't address it. We know that here in Tennessee. They just mandated that K through 12 has to mandatory take pew lessons at school to talk about it. Age appropriate is what they're saying. Instead of addressing the issue. So if any of you are feeling froggy, go and say some things because this is happening in Tennessee. And luckily I have some good friends who are going to be headed down here when everything shakes out. But yeah.
Well, I appreciate you doing something, stepping up to run for office. That's a big something. I appreciate you, friend. I really do. You know that.
Bye. Have fun in the vice.
Bye.
Bye.
Later. Okay, so Kash Patel, again, got some new sound. Thank you to our mod team for this. This is new sound from a testimony today. Kash Patel facing a Senate hearing, being interviewed by Senator Kennedy. Okay. Hold on a second. Here we go.
You've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone,
did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files?
In the case file.
What? Holy shit. What? Okay, so let's unpack this a second. So we have how many survivors showed up on Capitol Hill last week or the week before? Talked about how they were literally trafficked to billionaires, into the elite. How it was not a hoax, right? Though were those women just lying? All you Jezebels out there. I'm sorry. One more time, Cash.
Now, you've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to?
First of all, they're girls. They're fucking girls, Mr. Kennedy.
Besides himself.
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files?
In the case file.
Okay, baseball 2024. Let me ask you a question, he says. Why do you want them released? For what reason? Well, that's interesting because Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and others are possibly part of one of the largest sex trafficking rings, including young girls, that we may have ever seen in our history. And there are names being thrown around of their involvement. And I want every motherfucker involved in that process to be held accountable. Question I have for you is, why don't you want the Epstein files released? Why don't you? Or if you do, why aren't you doing something about it? No, that's not true. I've been asking them to be released forever. But you want to use that argument? Jump in the box, you coward. Jump in the box. Jump in the box. You won't, will you? You won't. Of course not. You have no followers. You're a fucking troll. Get the fuck out of here. All right, first of all, it wasn't our administration that made the claim. It was yours. So do you think the information should not be released?
Can you hear me?
Do you think the information should not be released?
If it is released or not, yeah, it should be released. I want to know why the Democrats want it released now, but they did. If they're so worried about the victims, why were they not worried about them 4 years ago?
So do you understand? Are you interested in trying to learn something?
I'm 100% interested. I just want to know why you weren't worried 4 years ago.
No,
you're making it political. Is why you
hold on. Okay. Are you interested in learning something? Are you interested in learning something? Yes or no?
Yeah, of course. Always listening. Okay. Interested in learning.
Okay. So the information that we had that was released, where we got the initial flight logs, whose administration was that released under?
Biden.
Correct. So doesn't that just destroy your entire argument?
No, because nobody else pressed to release any more information.
That's not true at all.
That's 100% true.
No,
you didn't have. You did.
Okay, make your claim. Okay, you made a claim. Now back it up.
Okay. Because you never was on here demanding them to be released every day.
Did I?
4 years ago?
Did I campaign? That's absolutely not true. First of all, did I campaign on releasing the Epstein files?
No, Trump did.
So then why haven't they been released?
I can't answer that. That's not my premise. That's not my argument. My argument is I think they should be released. My argument is why do you guys all of a sudden want to release?
Again, it's not all of a sudden. We've been asking them to be released forever.
No, it's not. That's just a flat out lie.
How the fuck do you know?
Because I watch you. Because I watch you and listen.
Man, listen, the only reason that it's become a political issue right now is because Donald Trump's Attorney General and Department of Justice has lied to the American people about it. Lied to the American people. The direction given to the Department of Justice was to release everything. They lied about it. Pam Bondi told Donald Trump that his name's all over it. They tried to discredit it, call it a hoax. So the reason it's in the news is because Trump's name is all fucking over it. I don't give a fuck who's in it. I want everybody held accountable. Everybody.
I agree. I agree.
If you're a Trump voter, then why aren't you demanding it be? Who's your representative in Congress?
I don't know.
You don't know who your representative is?
No.
Okay, so let's start again. What'd you have for breakfast today?
Nobody gives a shit.
Exactly. Nobody gives a fuck. Jesus Christ, what the fuck? Like, really? First of all, the Biden Justice Department does not work for the president. The Biden Justice Department, like any responsible administration, represents the American people. Okay? Now, do I wish that Joe Biden should have pressured Merrick Garland more to do more? Absolutely. But I believe in the independence of the DOJ. That's not what we have now. That's not what we have now. Okay? That's not what we have. We have the weaponization of government at the direction of Donald Trump. We have the weaponization of the Department of Justice to go after political enemies. We've got a loyalty test being administered to DOJ officials. Tell us who you vote for. Do you think the raid at Mar-a-Lago was justified? Blah fucking blah. What an unbelievably pitiful excuse to try to say that. The answer, it's a really simple question for you dumbasses in the back. Do you want the files released? Yes or no? And if the answer is anything other than no, then go fuck yourself. Seriously. It is the biggest, to sit here and say, first of all, this is what MAGA doesn't understand. If Kamala Harris had won the election and she campaigned on releasing the Epstein files and we were here where we are right now, I would be on the phone to the White House every fucking day saying, what the fuck are you hiding? Why are you not releasing this bullshit? Because that's what responsible people do who genuinely care about crimes against children. So back to Kash Patel's testimony. Let's one more time. I need to catch up.
Now, you've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None.
So there's no credible information. So the girls that were trafficked by Maxwell and Epstein are not credible? Because that's what he's saying. And by the way, this is a congressional hearing. You lie to Congress, you can be found in contempt. Who's going to hold him in contempt? His own Justice Department? Nope. But that despicable, vile human being, when the next administration comes into power, and they will, you're goddamn right, I'm going to be knocking on the fucking door every single day saying, when might I expect an indictment for Kash Patel? Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted of trafficking girls. She was convicted of that. The women the women now, the girls then, discussed it. And they have named names. They have talked about it specifically. So what Kash Patel, again, because women, it's all your fault apparently, again, what he's attempting to try to do is say, nothing to see here. There's no trafficking. So what you're doing, Kash, and thank you for saying it publicly, you are defending predators. You are defending some of the most vile, despicable human beings on earth. people who commit crimes against children in prison are at the bottom rung. Ghislaine Maxwell went to prison for conspiracy, for trafficking minors. We have the FBI, we have the emails now talking about it between the two of them, between Maxwell and Epstein. And he's going to sit there in front of the Senate and say that? Again, you're right, Tona. Discrediting the victims and traumatizing them all over again. Wow. I don't even know what to say about that one. I don't even know what to say. Navy vet, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. You actually made the right name call, but you slipped on it. It wasn't a true pull out because it was Cash Mattel is what you started to say, and that's perfect.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, you're right. It did say Cash Mattel.
The thing is they're not realizing that the e-files were being investigated under Biden. That's how they found out Costa made that foolish deal, the signing of the immunity for everybody but Epstein and Maxwell. So there's that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that in. But the other thing I wanted to say is if anybody doesn't know, NAACP is holding a democracy virtual meeting tonight. Everybody's invited nationwide.
Is it streaming like on YouTube or wherever? Someplace?
Right now, it's only listed as a Zoom meeting. You have to register on their website.
On the NAACP website?
Yes.
Okay. We'll research that and we'll post it in the Discord if we find that information out. Thanks for that tip, bro.
I'll send it to you if I can find the original email. Thank you.
Okay. I appreciate that, buddy. Have a good day. See you later.
Bye.
He's right. The information that we had that was available that initially named names, that initially pointed to Donald Trump being on the flight logs and et cetera, came out during the Biden administration. Ghislaine Maxwell was still in court. You can't release information while somebody's undergoing trial. It tarnishes the jury pool and then would allow for a conviction to be questioned under appeal for jurisprudence or whatever else. The FBI director whose career is over. You're right. She was prosecuted during the Trump administration. Exactly right. I'm sorry, during the Biden administration. Like, what the fuck? That's the statement you want to make? There's no credible information, none, that he trafficked to other individuals? That's what trafficking is. You don't traffic to yourself. You don't traffic to you. I got to hear this statement again. I'm sorry.
You've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is.
That's not trafficking. These women that were girls then, these women, these brave, courageous women who stood there in front of Congress, and some of them have never gone public before. Some of them have never gone public before. Some of them probably never wanted to go public. But what they have been witnessing and hearing and seeing, what they went through was just now we have the FBI director telling them that they're not credible. And he will end up on Fox News tonight or Newsmax, and he'll say that we have no credible information, none, that he trafficked to other individuals. We do. I am so sorry. I can only imagine, like, just the. Let's back up a second. Let's think about it. Let's think about it for a second. The FBI director, obviously, that was probably a coordinated testimony that they gave Mr. Kennedy an opportunity to say, this is the question I want you to ask. Okay, this is the question I want you to ask. I'm just gaming this out, right? Just gaming this out. Follow my logic. Question I want you to ask is, be specific. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to? Because if we can change the narrative to say he only did this himself, then we can keep the wolves at bay, so to speak, because they're too dumb to pursue it. So, Cash, what you're going to say is there's no credible information, none, that he trafficked to other individuals, implying that, yes, there is information out there that he absolutely trafficked young girls to other individuals, but we're just going to say it's not credible. That's the story, right? That's the story. So that's an acknowledgement that there's this massive fucking trafficking ring. Massive. A massive trafficking ring. They're acknowledging to it, right? But so what we're going to do is we're just going to say all of those victims / survivors are liars. The key word being credible in this case. There is no credible information, none, that he trafficked to other individuals. Exactly, TMG. Credible now being the operative word. I know that based on the numbers, there's probably numerous women in our chat today that have been assaulted. I'm sorry. I am so very sorry. Director of the FBI. Let's see the testimony so we can determine that for ourselves. Of course you'd say that, Drew, because you're a fucking pig. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to? So the audio is not enough because you probably think that's why. Oh, I'll play it again.
You've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files?
In the case file.
Okay.
Drew, are you so desperately trying to protect a predator? Credible is the word, friends. That's the word of the day. This was said today. Credible. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to? Answer from Patel. Quote, there is no credible information, none, that he trafficked to other individuals. In the information that we have. Got it. Got it. Got it. So another way they're going to attempt to spin this is that eventually, because they know that the discharge petition is going to get signed. They know it. They see it. They can do the math. They know it. And in the discharge petition, it asked for all the goods, everything, everything. So when that information comes out, they're going to say, that's not credible. Wow. I am so sorry. I am just so sorry. It's insane. True, if I misspoke, I apologize. I reacted. True, I think I owe you an apology. I'm sorry about that. If I put you on the spot, sorry about that. I think you can understand why. My apologies, though. Just release the damn files. Just release them. Let people make up their own mind. It's just. I can't, I'm just. I'm so sorry. Gonna wrap. Thank you for everybody for being here. Thank you, Jess, for joining us early today. Thank you for just a reminder again, indivisible.org, the link to the organizations that is the umbrella organization to for Downriver United 734, which is Jess and Ashley's organization in Michigan, is in the link tree that's in my bio. You can also find a link to Act Blue, which is also there, that supports that organization. If you'd like to continue to support what we do here every single day, again, we are crowdfunded. We appreciate you. Never expected, always appreciate it, though. You can find myself, my pay apps, all Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, at Factsstillmatter. I believe women.